This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all it counts to me. Goodbye and good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to One Nation Radio. It is a show among shows that you've been waiting for. I don't know if there's going to be a show that y'all going to be anticipating more this year, but we are here, and we are here joined by a long-suffering fan of the man who is the person that we are laughing at this hour or the past weekend, Cody Rhodes. We're joined by Floyd Johnson Jr. of Social Suplex via All Things Elite. Floyd, before we start, I would like to say thank you for deciding to do this, because if it were me, I would not do this at all. So, Floyd, what's going on?
Man, I had to be here. I had to. Like, when you think about, like, as a Cody fan, like, from Saturday night at around 10 o'clock Central to, like, when it happened on Friday at 9 Central, I mean, you're the roller coaster. I'm like, all the way in. Let me make sure my WrestleMania is set up. I mean, I've had my vacation playing the WrestleMania forever, but started double checking, making sure I had the flights booked. Like, let's go. We finishing this story. And then the first rumor came out on Monday. Then the second. And then Wednesday, I was like, Wednesday, I got news. And then I was like, okay, well, we'll see. And then Friday was like, okay. Oh, yeah, they did it. And they did it in the worst way possible. I mean, the worst way possible. Like, I was expecting The Rock to show up at 30 and just throw somebody out, throw 3 people out the ring, win it. I'm like, okay, I'll put the rest. They go through with Cody winning it. And I was just like, okay, so if they go through with Cody winning it, there's no way that The Rock is somehow main eventing. The decision has been made. It's Cody. We're all in. It's like Tiffany's like, oh yeah, let's go. We excited. I mean, we are on top of the moon. You thought the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl again. That's how happy we were. By Friday, it was like watching the Chiefs versus Tampa Bay. Watching that moment was like watching the Chiefs versus Tampa Bay, where the Bucks was just beating the shit out of the Chiefs. And I'm just like, and there's nothing I can do about it. And you see Cody's face.
And Cody's like Mahomes. Is Cody Mahomes when he's out here throwing the ball in the back of the end zone, making incredible plays, and the ball bouncing off motherfucker's face mask?
Yes. And Cody and The Rock basically had the same face. Like, it was like, I even said, it's like somebody came, like The Rock came out of him and Randy's house, and Cody gave him a high five on the way out. You know what I mean? You know what he was doing in that house. And they gave him a high five.
I am just flabbergasted, amazed, bemused, just seeing this entire situation.
Yes.
Just like from Cody winning the Royal Rumble, pointing at Roman Reigns.
Twice in a row. This second time he's won it.
Then they sent him out there for that promo with Seth Rollins, and everybody's like, what? nice try, but this isn't actually happening. I guess y'all got to fill a segment or whatever. All right, we'll see what happens Friday. This nigga comes out and says, I won the Royal Rumble, but I do not want to fight you at WrestleMania, which is among the 5 dumbest things a babyface has ever said in the history of professional wrestling. And I was like, how did, like, this nigga The Rock, I guess we might as well get into it. This is a carny finesse job politicking of a lifetime. He's better than Hogan, better than Muto, better than Jarrett, better than whoever you want, better than Triple H, obviously. Goddamn. Like, this is a guy who grew up in wrestling from his mother being a booker, his grandmother being a booker, his grandfather being a booker, going throughout all the territories, his dad, all the stories, growing up with people that are contemporaries like Jeff Jarrett with him, mentors like Jerry Lawler, Jerry Jarrett, Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson, and somehow Triple H and Shawn Michaels decided to make an enemy out of that young man. And 25 years later, The Rock has took the ultimate long con to not only, I feel like Cody's just a bit player in this. Like, this is bigger than Cody at this point.
No, collateral damage. That's all he is. He had
like he caught some of the explosion.
Yes, The Rock hasn't thought about Cody this whole time. While Cody was shaking his hand, he still wasn't thinking about him.
All right, like, you're supposed to get out of the way.
You're just the guy. You just have to be here. You could be Punk, you could be Rollins, you could be Drew. I don't care. I can't tell y'all white people apart anyway. So let's move on and let me handle my business.
They basically, like, this nigga The Rock, like when you think about everything he's done here, it's like there's no way around this. Like, his hands got dirty on this. And The Rock, I don't find him to be somebody that is exceptional at reading the room. And the Cody thing is a lot stronger than I think, I think both me and James may have initially given credit for it. Obviously, social media has melted down over the weekend, and, that's going to happen. And it's a real test, I think, for the modern WWE fan base with, just how much they want to wear the laundry on this. They're not going to fight back on anything. But yeah, obviously, they rolled Seth Rollins' crippled ass out there too. And he came out there and got Roman Reigns absolutely buried him 50 feet below the earth.
No pop.
He was like, Seth Rollins, that's right, no pop. Man, every day I feel more justified about Seth Rollins, and what I think of him as a professional wrestler, and just an overall quote unquote top star in the business. Every day I feel more vindicated.
That's the thing when it comes to WWE and baby faces, right? When you have them come out there and you have them say these things, like Cody did on Friday, like Seth did on Monday, if it's dumb, it probably behooves your heels, or for you to get to your heels and say, hey, I know he said something dumb, but the crowd was with it. Don't make them like the biggest schmucks on the planet. That didn't happen to Roman. Roman said, oh, he said that? Okay. This is a loser brackets belt. This belt is contested by all the motherfuckers I've beaten over the last 2 years. You want to call it the workhorse belt? I'll call it the loser belt. So, it was the easiest thing in the world. He lit him on fire and made his soul burn slow. It was hilarious.
Even worse is he told Cody, you can either go out and be the best number. You could either come after me, or be a bitch and go be the best number 2. And what was Cody's reaction?
Cody said, you know what?
I'll be the number 2.
I'll go be the number 2. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
A cuckolding of the highest order. Like, how do you come back from this, like as a baby face? How do you like not look like a plate of piss? Like, how do you
having The Rock be the person that gets the main event and then they turn you to the martyr?
Dude,
none of this needed to happen.
I know, but this is okay. So let's get to the news dump around this after the fact, right? So word is, or the reports are, that The Rock signed on to be on the board for TKO on January 3rd. It involves something like a $30 million stock option or payout where Rock got the equivalent of $30 million, whether it's in stocks, bonds, guns, or butter, or bread. I'm not sure. I don't know. I forgot. But it's $30 million. So Rock pretty much was guaranteed the WrestleMania spot. The only people that knew that at the time was The Rock, Tony Khan, and maybe Manuel, right?
Floyd Johnson. I was like, I knew this was part of the deal. I had the feeling. I threw it on our chat.
We had the same feeling too. That's why we're like, okay, we ready for
James,
if you smell it.
I covered the Royal Rumble last week, talking about Cody Rhodes winning it, and not once went into extended Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns scenarios
because of that same reason. Because you knew that the sword of Damocles was coming down. Well, I mean, in this particular case, the stone of Damocles.
Yes, the people's champ.
So nobody knows except for like 3 people.
Yeah.
Business goes on as planned. It's gonna be Cody, getting the win over Roman in the match he should have won the year ago. Should have won it a year ago, man. And so they go.
Yeah,
he
definitely should have won it a year ago.
They go forward plans. Obviously, CM Punk goes down, and that causes some what's gonna happen, how they're gonna move the card around, all that kind of stuff. So they do the entry. They do the little thing where Cody, where Seth, a person that is 0-3 versus somebody that's champion, begs a person 0-3 for redemption by saying, "Hey, come that belt that you couldn't win. That's not the real title. That belt that I got when you beat my ass 3 straight. This has been a first round sweep back in 2000." Right? That's the real. He's trying to play reverse psychology on Cody. Cody is like, I'll consider it. And then he fucking considered it for real. Anyway, move forward to Friday. Cody comes out and
the day that belt got announced, we came on this show. We caught it in real time. It was like a live reaction. And a shambolic belt.
Yes.
Yeah. Triple H buried the belt on the introduction. Like, the way you introduce that belt is, you make Roman look bad, but he made Roman look amazing and then said, okay, here's the belt because we need somebody that'll work every week. And it's just like, I was like in shock and awe because I had never seen, like, literally, Ric Flair just gave Triple H the belt, the world title, and he introduced it. Triple H didn't have to fight, and he still introduced it better than Triple H introduced the new secondary title, like the Super IC belt.
This for all our geeks.
I didn't want Cody anywhere near
Except
that belt.
Rogan. Go ahead, James.
Can you please check the Twitter DMs? So after a long time of us talking about Cody and that belt, it seems we are not at that point. Rich, can you please display that what I sent you on the screen? Because they know, those long time listeners of the stream and of the podcast, they know what I'm playing. Can you please play for the fans?
It is kind of difficult with this chat to do that.
But you already know what it is.
Yeah, we already know.
Put that shit on. Yeah, man.
Yeah, put it on.
Yeah.
Like,
Cody, they gave him the chance to finish the story. They thought they were going to get to it, but they did not know that, like, The Rock had this master plan, and that master plan meant that, like, Cody's story is going to be left in the drafts, undone.
I mean, Triple H told him the story never ends last year after WrestleMania.
You know what a story never ends is?
Bullshit.
A bad story.
Yeah, it's a bad story. Bad story. It was like top dollar. I read his tweet, and he was like, everybody wanted to act like that Roman Reigns and Cody match last year in the main event didn't bang. And I was like, I, who don't get in arguments on Twitter, even felt necessary to reply. If you think of a match like a movie or a story, right? And you go see the story or the movie and the ending is terrible, it's not a good movie or story at that point because the ending is terrible. So therefore, if everybody hated the ending, it can't be a great match.
Right.
If I stay up an hour and 7 minutes and watch Dominion era with Kenny Omega and Okada, Kenny Omega's going for that one wing angel that we're all waiting for. Okada flips it back and hits him with a clothesline and pins him. That's not the greatest match of all time. It was the greatest match of all time because of the story that was with it.
That definitely added to it. Definitely.
It's like everybody had been waiting for Omega to finally beat Okada. And if Okada, I just won. It's like, okay. Like, that's why everybody's waiting on Cody win. Then he loses. And that it's just like,
sorry,
that match is not great. Sorry. I'm never watching it again.
I mean, it's definitely tainted. Like, that's the thing when it comes to matches and people's memories. When you have something that has something built in as a payoff, and then you don't do the payoff, it's definitely you definitely have all rights as a fan, a consumer, whatever you want to call it, to look in retrospect and be like, what I felt for this isn't the same anymore.
Yep.
And I mean, that's all storytelling, right?
Yeah.
You know, like we've seen plenty of movie franchises have two bangers, 1, 2, and then 3 stinks.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much except for what, like The Godfather. That's kind of like the only thing that kind of like survives the part where like the third one or the conclusion isn't on point. We just say, yeah, never mind, whatever.
Yeah, man. This is it's so like I think it just proves like no matter who's running this company, no matter if Vince is there, the game, Dwayne Johnson, Brian Gewirtz, who else is out there on that board? I don't know. The faces change, the situations stay the same. They will try to outthink their audience. They will try to outthink whatever. The Rock thing is a trap. Like I kind of been clear on how I feel about it. Like, you know, I like The Rock.
Right. I'm
not necessarily into Dwayne Johnson, the packaging of him, the non-human. This man's like an NPC kind of like the prepackaged PR version, like the record everything you do, all your philanthropy, all that stuff. I'm like, all right, I get it. This is all part of the game. Like this is what it is with this guy. Like, and I think it's okay to say that or whatever, but this is like, we're gonna see if people really got a problem with wrestlers being in charge. We're gonna see if we got a problem with like, because like just when you look at it, this is like if Bruno Sammartino came back and was like, yeah, thank you, Bret Hart. We're going to move you out the way. It's so long ago. Like, it's like, why are we still depending on the Rock? Like, or not we, because, you know, that's not us depending on the Rock. But it's like WWE sees nothing more. Like, they will never walk into their future. Like, they will never do it. No. Like, and like, Cody Rhodes is a guy. Cody is 38 years old now, right?
Right.
He's not a young person or whatever. Like, he's not the person that you would ideally fit as like, yo, this is the next ace or whatever. That's like 25 to 30 years old, and you're fucking crowning him. He's older than fuck, but he's been dealing with this his entire career. Yep. What am I talking about? The ghosts of the Attitude Era. They will not fucking let it go. Yep. Remember those promos he was cutting out? Dustin Rhodes was talking about he's the attitude killer on the weight belt and all that shit. The Attitude Era has come back with a vengeance. They've risen the fuck up. Like Malachi Black. Like they've like, no, we'll come back to get you. This guy's been dealing with it And by proxy, his generation of wrestlers have been dealing with it
their whole careers.
Their whole careers. It will never be their time. Partly, this is why AEW was created, but obviously, Cody chose differently. He had another idea. So, but the constantly going back to The Rock, like this was already on track to do what it was going to do before The Rock got involved. This is a classic Hulk Hogan. I see the money train leaving without me. I can jump on the back of this thing, and it will look like I took us to the promised land. Like that's the classic Hulk Hogan playbook, and that's what's happening here.
Rich, you said it a couple weeks ago. Like Cody did everything right as far as reading the lay of the land, seeing where his position was in AEW, seeing what looked like it could be in WWE, seeing that like, oh, I can clearly be the top babyface here. That ain't even hard to do. What's stopping me? Who's in the way? Drew McIntyre, who they don't really want to go with because he has an accent, because Vince is there. Like it was clear, and he was the first one to do the jump. That was a big star in AEW, so they definitely wanted to treat him nice to try to show people, hey, you might want to come to this side when your contract runs out, right? So he knew all this stuff. He talks to the same people that he talks to the right people. He's not no dumb person. He knows. So he knew. But the thing is, like the simulation happened. Like you play this thing out where Cody jumps to WWE. And there's plenty of simulations and plenty of outcomes where Cody wins at WrestleMania last year, right? There's simulations where he has the loss there, and then he wins it this year. There's also a simulation where the money is so big with TKO getting bought out, and like there's a Hollywood strike, and The Rock is lost some of his power in Hollywood, and he got some free time on his hands, and he got a $30 million check. They ain't like, he can't just get $30 million somewhere else right now for a movie.
And he got his name. And he got his name.
Right. And he gets the power, and he gets inside track at the top of Power Vacuum in WWE /TKO. Like that's the stuff for this that you do not foresee, but once you look up, you're like, oh shit, I wish I had thought about this. But you can't think about this that far out. 2 years out, or sorry, at this point, 2 years and 3 months out when you are, when you're a pro wrestler. And I feel unfortunate because he did everything. He did everything right, and that's the thing.
I may have said it in the group chat, James. Like I almost would have like felt bad if he made some type of mistake and they took it from him. Then I would be like, damn, they slayed him off of like one mistake. Damn, that's fucked up. But he did everything right, so it's almost like.
Well, if you want to say he did make one mistake, is he fucked around and got injured. But even then, he still overcame.
I think he beat that.
The injury stopped him from jobbing all summer.
I'm saying, I'm doing the thing where like when they pick and choose who they don't want to get behind after someone gets injured. Yeah. John Cena get hurt a bunch of times. Injured a bunch of times. It doesn't matter. Dolph Ziggler gets concussed. Oh, he can't carry the load.
So it's like in some retrospects, I do feel bad for Cody, and then others I don't, because it's like. Yeah, like this is just the way the ball bounces. The forces are bigger than you,
right?
And like,
yeah, I mean,
there's no getting around this. Like this entire like power suck that Dwayne Johnson has pulled off. Like this is this is something else.
Cody just wants to be a star pro wrestler, a top baby face.
Yeah,
and he's in here with this rivalry that's been going on for literally 25 years, right? Like, between Triple H and The Rock, and like, I've been saving this, like, you mentioned 25-year thing, but I was going to bring it up. Like, when Triple H cut that promo with Ross saying, I am the game, that interview, whatever else, like, do you think like at some point, like Triple H, when they were hugging for pictures and all that kind of stuff, did he go to him and be like, hey, I waited a quarter century for this. Game over. It's all this stuff, like the jokes about secession, or it's this power, or is this is this TV drama based on corporate drama? This is it, and we see it because we know some of these people because we've seen them on screen doing something else or doing another side of what the actual business is, right? So it's really nasty, and it ain't got nothing to do with Cody, and it's it's proxy wars and it's long cons and it's Tony Khan. I'm sorry, not Tony Khan. It's Nick Khan and The Rock being fucking friends in Hawaii on the tuck for
and what
years.
are the odds of this?
Yes. Yeah.
It's Machiavellian. And every turn you think about, every turn is Machiavellian.
I don't know how many games.
Who dropped the dime on Vince? Did Khan press the button on all this to get this rolling?
But that's the thing, right? Before you even account
believable.
Before you even account for all that stuff, we all thought, is it Nick Khan? Was Triple H? Was it both of them in concert? Was it both of them plus Stephanie?
Yes.
And then they got him out the door, and then he fucking came back.
Yeah, I've compared this. I don't know how many Game of Thrones fans that we have in the group, but I've compared this to Game of Thrones. Triple H's little finger, manipulating, moving the pieces around, and The Rock was Jon Snow. He went off all the world, and everybody thought he was gone. He didn't have anything to do with wrestling, and he built up his power base on the outside, and then came in and took the throne. He's like, I can have it, and They both played their pieces right. The way it was, and The Rock won.
Yep, and in an ironic twist, right? Like, when they let The Rock, when The Rock's contract ran out back in the day, was it 2002? 2005. The reporting was Vince dumbass said he's gonna let his contract run out because he thinks he's gonna be a Hollywood star, and when he flames out and he has no other options, he can get lowball and want a deal on the way back because it's The Rock. Well, we
all knew he was going to be successful.
Well, quite ironically, 20 years later,
yes,
after Rock became the biggest grossing movie star in the world for a time, Rock did eventually flame out, and now he's such a big star that he can come in and run the fucking company,
dude. It was like
he's essentially the new Vince.
Yeah, Cody is a man. The Rock is a brand. There is no competition. You know what I mean?
Rock selling F-150s.
Yes. I mean, I even say you do Q rating, like you ask 5 people, I'm telling you, all 5 know who The Rock is. They might not know he wrestled. They know who The Rock is. Right. I'd say probably 2 out of 5 know Cody. You know how many people? Who Cody? Yes.
You know how many people this day and age, people like, obviously younger than us, be like, Dwayne Johnson was a wrestler?
Yep.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yep.
Bro, like he's like a master businessman over the years. Like when he would put people over at the right time.
Yep.
When he would I'll lose to Brock Lesnar, knowing he can pull that shit back at any time or whatever. He never did it, but he could have at any point.
I thought WrestleMania 30 main event was going to be that.
Right. He was able to beat Hogan. He put Triple H over. He put Austin over a bunch of times at Wrestle. He lost in the WrestleMania main event 3 times in a row in his prime.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuck how it happened. Everything was fucked up back then. Like they wasn't doing like clean wins and shit back then.
And another tale is Rock was. Rock was such a transcendent star that they booked him and did all the wrong things with him because there was a Steve Austin for him to go against that they still never learned lessons from or they learned the wrong lessons from it of like he was the exception to the rule of you can't do this with him. You can't have a top heel not actually be the top heel, actually be the lackey for the actual top heel, which is the authority figure, and the person that's fighting the proxy war for the authority figure can be a huge star. That didn't work with anybody except for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson because The Rock is exceptional.
Yeah,
and they never learned his lesson. And this right here is a lesson that like The Rock is like, well, I'm exceptional, so none of this stuff applies. Ross out here getting booed for the second time in like 25 years. Now
it does call into question like what is The Rock and by extension Brian Gewirtz's creative mind like in 2024, right?
I guess
what is it? What is it like when it's not getting The Rock over, it's getting someone else over? I don't know how that works because it's like The Rock might be like Magic Johnson, be like, yeah, man, just go out there and you do it to him. You do it to him.
I imagine.
I don't know.
I think I have an idea what's gonna happen. I feel like The Rock is gonna be like, hey man, Triple H, I need you to do all the grunt work, and you do all the small ideas. I do all the big ideas.
And the big ideas are always going to include
I think unless Triple H gets to a situation where like he has to go because he's named in in the lawsuit or whatever else. But if not, I feel like The Rock gonna be like, hey, you thought he's gonna get this? Nah. You'll always be my vice president.
This is so funny, man. And like Brian Gewirtz is not there for no reason. Like
TKO
can pivot to him. No. They can Triple H. If Triple H feel like if they want to send Triple H away quietly or whatever into retirement, like this has been a lot on my heart, and I gave it 2 or 3 years or whatever, but I'm leaving the company in good hands. Blah blah blah. Like they can spin it any way they want. Gewirtz is there for a reason. Like and he's gonna make sure The Rock's ideas get through and are maybe even leading the way at this point. Triple H is not a board member at this point. He just works there. This stuff is disgusting.
Gewirtz hooked himself to The Rock very early in that WWE career. When The Rock left, he's like, I'm out too. The Rock opened $7. Who's the VP of talent? He knew. He's like, everybody bet on their guy. He bet right. He bought that stock low, and he is selling out. He didn't have to beg Vince to be his head writer. He's like, don't worry, I'll be there eventually. He tied himself to the winning boat, winning car, whatever you want to put. The Rock is the guy. And like I said, all of you that are mad, it's your fault for not going to see Black Adam. Because if Black Adam hit and made $1 billion, we wouldn't be talking about The Rock in the main event of WrestleMania. We'd be talking about Black Adam versus Superman, Black Adam 2, Black Adam 3. We would not be talking about this shit because The Rock would not have any time for the WWE.
I'm not trying to watch no Black Adam versus Superman. Superman is the ace, and Black Adam in the DC universe is I would say above a prelimer at this stage, but he's a lower mid card guy on the heel staple side of the DC universe. Like the part where The Rock thought that he was finna say, I'm The Rock, and because I'm The Rock, I'm going to elevate this damn near non-entity as a character. Yeah. Definitely a non-entity in the zeitgeist of superhero-dom. No.
Look at it. This is his third.
You should have picked somebody else. Like
this is
you
should have picked me
what do you call it? Or Dark Side. He fucked up.
Yeah. This is his third hostile takeover attempt. He tried to take over the Fast and Furious franchise. Vin Diesel kicked his ass on out of there. He tried to then take over DC. That failed. He's like, I can take over WWE. That's easy.
To be fair, anybody. If it like Rock, obviously Rock known to make a high selling bad movie, right?
Yeah,
it's The Rock. It is what it is. You there to see The Rock. You there to see The Rock do crazy, do stupid things with Kevin Hart. It's fine.
Yeah.
But his first mistake with the whole DC takeover was, don't go to DC.
Yes.
They make bad movies by and large for these superhero things. If you're gonna do it, take your ass over to Disney and have them hook you up.
Dude,
that was always a mistake.
I thought his mistake was trying to take a D-level character and make it. That's part of it. I was like, and he's like, just because it's Rock as a superhero, people are gonna go see the movie. I'm like, dude, Endgame raised the bar, and Black Adam was like a 1998 superhero movie.
This man was gonna take over. This man thought that he's gonna claim the throne of DC.
Yeah. Yep. Low hanging
by beating up on Shazam.
Magic
Superman. All right.
Okay, we're talking about Triple H. Triple H is not the only one.
I like Rich. Like, hey man, enough of this fucking superhero shit. Let's
wrap this shit up.
I don't watch none of this shit.
Wrap this shit up. This is terrible. Yeah. Triple H looking like Cody, like, hey, it happened to me too. WrestleMania 18, I get my big WrestleMania win. A month later, got to lose to Hulk Hogan.
We talk about Triple H. What about Shawn Michaels? We know The Rock don't fuck with him.
Yeah, but there's also been talk over the years that like Rock doesn't hate him anymore.
Shawn did his apology tour a long time ago.
Bro, what about Chad Frost? Look, people should have paid attention to Young Rock. The Rock gave the entire game away.
Yeah, the guy that was the hater on him, on Young Rock, they made like a black guy named Chad Frost. It was Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
It was like a thinly veiled secret that it was Shawn Michaels.
Well, my main thing was going to be that, like, you know, maybe, you know, the whole situation of him holding grudges against Shawn Michaels, maybe over, but, you know, because Meltzer has talked about that. So I started saying, like, for years he said he would never have came back and done business with Shawn, and then eventually he said that he would have. But regardless of that fact, like, that's still your man's. I mean, like Triple H shit that's never been ended.
Yeah, bro. So like HBK not jumping over to the Rock side,
right? And the Rock know that, and the Rock be like, all right, play crazy, see if I don't get you out of here too.
I mean, it's how it's worked. I mean, this whole business is built on power, leverage, and old people not knowing when to quit. That's what wrestling is built on. It's like, hey, I still got Hogan's like, Hogan's on this promo like, maybe I got one more in me, because they always think they have one more in them.
And this, bro, like it just like is like this combining with some of the other stuff we're gonna talk about with Stardom later on and different stuff like that. Like this stuff is not ever going to be as clean as we ideally think it would be, would like it to be, anything like that, where we start like, you know, sometimes I even get caught up in this, like, yeah, this is like someone's ascension, like this is the time for someone to do this is whatever. Then it's like, nah, man, there's a lot of business behind this stuff that affects timelines and throws shit off, and like real life that happens, like with
in relationships stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if Jeff Jarrett will come back. You know, him and Rock is cool.
Yeah. Dude. I mean, Jeff Jarrett is one of those people, like, you would think he'd have way more enemies than he does, and it just seems like everybody's cool with him.
I don't really think that he should have enemies, because most people by and large like him. I just think that, like,
he's just track record is
his track record, and because that's his track record, I'm not going to pretend like I don't know what his track record is. And everybody else is like, well, he's so nice. It's like, yeah, but he's hitting 230.
Yeah.
Designate his ass for assignment. Get the fuck out of here.
And that's what I was saying. It's just like, he's so carny. You would think he had, you know, like, he would have enemies, but everyone seems to like Jeff Jarrett. He doesn't burn bridges. He's like, hey, okay, it didn't work out this time, you know, and move on. He fleeced Vince and then went back and worked for the WWE. So he's like, oh, no hard feelings. It's just wrestling. You know,
was that for 100,000? Or how much was it?
100 rack.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like, hey.
But yeah, man, like, it's like, what, Floyd? What do you make of this whole this fake yes movement that is like kind of being manufactured now by, in part, the fans and the company?
Think of anything but Vince McMahon. That's what this is about. Literally, think of anything but Vince McMahon. Like, on the line this week, you would always get, like, there'd be 100 tweets about Cody. We want Cody. Then there'd be that one tweet. Did we forget about her? And everybody ineffective, without saying the word, said, yes, we have completely moved on from that. Now we want Cody to main event WrestleMania. And in that way, for WWE TKO, genius. They have moved the focus to this poor man, Cody Rhodes, poor boot scraps, you know,
this millionaire white man.
He pulled himself up by his bootstraps. He barely has nothing but, you know, the $1,000 Louis Vuitton shoes that he wears to every event. But he has nothing. But let's get all behind him, and he get what he deserves.
He needs justice.
I am talking about this as a Cody fan, but I'm also smart enough to be able to detach myself from my fandom and see what is happening. Are you smart enough to remove your emotions out of it and see what is happening? They are using Cody to make you think about everything else. Like, just think about him. Focus on him. All your anger towards WWE, it's about Cody. It's not about, the other thing. You know what I mean? And that's what they want you to think of it as. The other thing. They don't want you to have a name on it. They don't want you to have an action on it. It's the other thing. Focus on Cody. And it's working. Yeah. It worked. Trending all weekend. We want Cody. And The Rock is like, I don't give a fuck what you want.
Yeah. This is I didn't think about it when it happened, but like once it happened, it's like, oh, if you ask me what the fallout would be, he predicted this would be it. Now, I think that Cody is more sympathetic to people than I imagined he was going to be, but like Triple H gets blindsided with this call. Everyone gets blindsided with this call except for Rock. Rock comes in, says, "Never mind that Rumble win. You can be like maybe the first person ever to win 2 Rumbles and never main event WrestleMania, or never win the main event of WrestleMania. Roman, you have wrestled exactly one person in a singles match at WrestleMania that debuted after 9/11. I don't care." No, 2 people. 2 people. Sorry. Cody and Drew. Drew, who happened to debut in 2002, by the way. I looked that up for this joke. Doesn't matter. Like, you face Undertaker, you face Brock, you face Triple H. It's time for you to face me. And, man, like, it just happened to work out this way. And, obviously when you identify yourself as someone that, like, is helping hold up an institution, you're always on to the next thing. This is the next thing. It's always going to be like this. Like, if you are a fan of just human nature, if you are a fan of something, more times than not, the person's not going to take inventory and reconcile or have a come to Jesus moment of like, yo, this is really bad. And this makes me feel bad. And this is kind of taints me on my experience with X, Y, or Z. Most people don't do that. I do that, from time to time on certain things. Most people don't do that. Just like, that sucks. I would like to move on. That's how it goes. That's human nature. And this is it. This is the new thing. So it'll come back up when people, get bounced out. But like the institution, it's gonna stay around, and that's how. Like, the faces change. Institution stays where it is, right? Like, we saw this with Penn State football 15 years ago, right? Clean house. Give them something assembling a death penalty. It was for something that has nothing to do with, academics at all. And, after a few years, we'll get rid of it because people look around and be like, yeah, that was ridiculous. What are we doing? And they'll get their football program back. And then they'll hire the right 2 people and they'll get the program back to being relevant again nationally every other year. That's how this goes, right? Like, people still go to church.
I feel like you could have definitely, see people identifying with Cody because everybody's had a job, a person, or something that didn't want them, that saw no value in them. Mm-hmm. And no one, WWE saw no value in Cody. This dude left while under contract. And he left under contract.
They saw value in him.
They didn't.
They saw him as Gold does Lil Bro.
He left under contract. He lost to Zack Ryder 40 times in a row. You can't tell me they saw value in him. And when you lose to Zack Ryder, suit. Yes. So he left, and he came back. Dude, they didn't see any value in the suit. They gave him what's the guy, Connor and Victor? They gave him them. The Cosmic Wasteland. That shows you that they saw no value in him. Okay? So they never saw any value in him. He was worth nothing. He came back. He Count on Monte Cristo, this motherfucker. He went away, he put on the suit, got in better shape, dyed his hair blonde,
Nothing like 30 pounds of muscle.
Yes. Yeah, let everybody know, hey, you remember this chick that you were attracted to? Yeah, she chose me, so you should too. No, it's like all of it was perfectly manicured, well done, this perfect comeback. So everybody identifies with it because everybody wants to be what Cody was. He came back, and how did they present him at WrestleMania 38?
Top star,
yeah,
really.
like a stop star. You got the people crying. You got me going crazy. I'm in there. And you're like, oh my God, I haven't cared about WWE in like years. Like really cared about him. I'm like, oh my God, my Cody's back. So, you know, he's everything you want to be. He's coming back and it's like, oh, now you didn't think I was good enough. You didn't think I was good enough. Oh, now you had to open up the bag. Vince McMahon had to fly to his house in Georgia and said, come on back. I got you. You know, I'll take care of you.
Hey,
you know Vince was gonna be gone.
Don't. I know what you're gonna say. You finna say if somebody was on the plane with Vince. God damn it. Damn it, man. Anyway,
how deep were those negotiations? That's all that.
Anyway, so Cody, he does a great job as we mentioned, right? And like the simulation happened. And like he has the match. The match tells a great story. The storyline beat of like it leaves like open the question for like what happens when we get the rematch? Like the rematch, like when this babyface chase is like, you know, same thing we saw similar to Okada and Omega is like in the first match, like he never hit a one-wing angel. If he hits it, he wins, right? Like
he didn't
Tam
hit
Nakano
the
and Julia. Tam Nakano and Julia, like if Tam ever hits this fucking move, she can win the white belt. Like, he had him up for 2 unanswered consecutive crossroads, had him up for a third, and then the Samoan spike came out from Sikoa. And it leaves you begging that question, like, what happens if he hits the third one? And that was the finish of what would have been this match that happened at WrestleMania this year.
Yeah.
And it was a perfect story.
I guess we'll never know.
And then the Rock decided to fly 2 planes into this man's story, and it blew up and crumbled before his eyes.
Dude, you know how much shit I've caught because The Rock is like one of my favorite humans characters ever. And they're like, people are like, why aren't you supporting The Rock? And I was like, let me tell you, I'm a TV fan. This would be like Friends, one of my favorite TV shows. They set it up from the beginning. It's Ross versus Rachel. And then they go to the series finale, and Joey comes in there. I got Rachel.
I mean, that kind of was season 9.
It was, but when it finally ended, though.
I know.
Ross, yeah. But if she ends up with Joey, it's like, I don't hate Joey. He's one of my favorite characters, but this ain't where this ain't how.
It's tainted. It's tainted. Like you mentioned, stories are supposed to have endings. If you have a bad ending, or you know, you have to go back and reevaluate the entire story. Yeah. Now, do you have more information? Like, that's the reason why, is it George R.R. Martin?
Yeah.
That's the reason why that book came out. You know the kind of pressure he has to kind of finish this shit? If it's fucked up, everything's fucked up. If people can go back and be like, bro, you shouldn't even bother. What you mean I shouldn't have bothered? I created $1 billion empire off these books.
Yeah.
Now y'all mad at me because I didn't finish it and y'all want to make these TV shows before I even got a chance to finish this shit?
Dude.
Seamus Nova.
You get down to 3, 2, 1, you know, where the person stops the bomb at the one and it just blows up and everybody dies. Like that's what's happening there. It's like, this is a bad ending. This has nothing to do with Dwayne. I love that man. I love that man. But, you know, it has nothing to do with my feelings toward Dwayne. It has everything to do with, hey, I've been riding this wave, you know. This is where it's supposed to end. This is the natural conclusion. And they're like, no. You can, and a big fuck you to everybody that says, oh, he can get it next year. 41? I'm like, in ADD America, in a 3-minute promo is too long sometimes.
I don't know how you could have any confidence in putting it on and saying, oh yeah, he'll just win it at WrestleMania 41. He'll be 39 next year.
No, not even that. It's not even that part. It's the part where it's like, if you don't do it last year, you do it at the big round fucking number.
Absolutely. Brett got
Like
his big
you,
win
you
at
do
10.
you do it at the big round number / the biggest show you're ever going to put on or of the time of the era to commemorate that you finished the story, right?
Yep.
Like they didn't have Tam cut off Julia's hair, right? Like in fucking Korakuen Hall. It happened in Budokan Hall. You know what I'm saying? Like these
people throwing out
timing.
SummerSlam, and I saw people
That's why I'm
fantasy
just
booking
like,
shows and
SummerSlam-
venues that ain't even booked right now. Oh, they can just do it at Survivor Series or Madison Square Garden. I'm like, who said it's gonna be there? You
Yes.
made that up yourself,
Right.
bro. And like some of the cope and the justification of him not winning last year is just so funny because the game has been switched. When we came on this show and said, "Yo, they're not gonna let him win that shit last year," and people thought we were crazy. And I think seeing like they'll just change their clothes to match whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was the right thing for him not to win next year. Oh, is the right thing for The Rock to be in this thing with. I'm like, come on, man. Rock's like another era, man. Like we gotta stop this at some point.
Think of the years that Cody and Roman have had from WrestleMania last year to this year. And tell me why both of those years wouldn't have been benefited by Cody having the belt and Roman not having the belt. Cody, you could have absolutely done Roman and Rock main eventing WrestleMania 40 without the belt. It was unnecessary. Like, you could have had Cody and Brock all throughout the post WrestleMania into SummerSlam, and actually had a reason why Brock just randomly turned on Cody. I want my belt.
Dude, the same thing that happened on Raw the next night.
Right.
Makes way more sense if Cody's the champion.
Right.
Brock was locked out of wrestling Roman. Cody became champion. I'm not locked out anymore.
Right.
Beats his ass. And that's how it works. Everything Cody has been involved with since then makes more sense with the title.
And better yet, right? Cody's a champion. He beats Brock. They do the handshake. Brock goes off Ross off in the sunset to, avoid, being implicated with Vince publicly. And then what do you know? Like this super long IC title reign that we've had on Gunther and is never ending for no good reason. We had him finish runner up in the Rumble that Cody won. He stole his destiny. He's been the greatest IC champion ever. He finally lost, or he vacated the damn thing. He just won this 2024 Rumble. He's going to chase down Cody. That sounds some shit out of Rocky. They fucked it.
Dude,
they
even
fucked it for a full year.
Dude,
nothing happened.
Yes, even this year, if you go with Cody and Roman, it's in Philadelphia. This is Rocky 2. Rocky lost the first one to Apollo. He wins the second one in Philadelphia. That's how the movie goes. Cody is Rocky. He's running up the steps. You're doing the vignettes. You're doing all the stupid shit. It's there. Roman's cutting promos saying, you didn't beat me last year. How are you going to do it this year? It was there. This is wrestling. This is the wrestling storyline. This is not it wasn't even creative booking to get to this point. It was fucking there. And then it's oh, I want to see who the real head of the table. Who the fuck cares about that? Really? Who really fucking cares about who's the head of the fucking table? Who the fuck cares?
Hey, I can't speak on it. Look, I can't speak on it. I'm not Samoan. I can't speak on it.
This is a 53-year-old man against a 36-year-old man. Dude, The Rock was the head of the table. It's your fucking grandfather now. It's time to let the other man be the head of the table.
Well, you up there with Alpha and Sigma damn there now.
Yes. What are you talking
You
about?
across the threshold, sir.
Dude, if you hadn't got big in Hollywood, you'd be on the indies doing these tables charging $25 a handshake and a photograph, but you made it in Hollywood. Go the fuck on. We are done with you.
Though, I would look, I am a good old hater. I'm just gonna say it.
We know.
I want the worst decision possible.
You want Rock to win?
Absolutely.
Dude.
Absolutely.
Dude.
Put it on the Rock.
Dude, I have said many times, I have the WWE tattoo. I can never quit the WWE. The Rock wins that match. The Rock that wins that match.
Yes.
The Rock that finishes that match. I'm about to start watching wrestling with y'all. Yeah, I'm done. I am retiring. I am throwing in my WWE card. I am going to get my tattoo covered with an AEW tattoo. I am out if The Rock wins this. This is not how wrestling works.
I forgot that you had that tattoo, and now that you reminded me of that, like I feel less sorry for you.
Yeah.
You made your bed.
No, it's like I remember when I got the WWF tattoo because I had become, and the reason I got the WWF tattoo is because I had become so disenfranchised with WWE. I wanted to get the tattoo of what I fell in love with originally. So that's why I got the WWF tattoo. It's got the full on F and everything, old school.
And now Rock pulling Hogan moves, and now you're like, oh, I was too young to realize what was going on,
dude. Hey. I'm at 10 years of saying the WWE isn't booked for me anymore. It isn't booked for me. It is done. Like, it is what I do on Mondays. It is what I do on Fridays or Thursdays or whatever the fuck day SmackDown comes on. But I have no emotional attachment in general to most of the stuff that goes on in WWE. Mm-hmm. My emotional attachment is to one person. One person.
Damn.
One person. I followed him to AEW. He came back. I was like, I was at WrestleMania 38. I followed this man. I hate LA as a city. I went to LA to see him finish the story. I hate it. I went there. Like hate this. So they have been just saying for like a year now, fuck you, Floyd, fuck you, Floyd, fuck you, Floyd. We don't care what you want. And it was like, and then they had the nerve after screwing Cody over on Friday, put out a new shirt Monday. And then everybody's like, "Oh, I got the fucking dog on it." Yeah, I got the new shirt. And I'm like, and then people are like,
"Talking about the dog."
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, I went and got the shirt." I'm like, so your way to show them that you're not angry is to then give them more money.
Right. Right.
I'm so angry. Here's $50.
Right. Like,
Dan in the comments, the January 6th shirt, man. Look, a flag, a dog.
Yes.
Here's another one, right? How many times do you have
red, white, and blue color? Claim your kingdom.
No, Rich. That's the thing, though. This ain't the first Reclaim Your Kingdom shirt that Cody's put out. Yeah. That's one of his slogans. Why is that one of your slogans, Cody?
Yes.
It don't like this ain't the first one. Like, yeah, like I wanted someone to get heat on the dog. Like I'm tired of Cody bringing out the dog and nobody stealing the dog.
The Rock, no. Here's the thing. Rock did it better. Rock got heat on the dog better than anyone ever could have because Cody brought out the dog. Cody probably Triple H on the phone with Cody. Yeah, man, you want to rumble. It's time for you went face with Seth. Now it's time for you to go face with Rock on Friday. Bring the dog. Cody brought the dog. They showed him backstage with the dog. And then Rock showed up and said, man, motherfuck that dog.
He's like, I'm going to show you
that dog's a loser just like you.
He's like, let me show you what a dog does. And he lifted his leg.
Some pyro
He lifted his leg right on Cody and it established his dominance. So this is my house.
Damn.
This is my house.
Cody said, Rock said, hey man, get you and that white ass dog out of here.
Yeah. And again, I came on the show to laugh through the pain because believe me, I am hurting. On Friday, I didn't go to sleep until 4 a.m. and I had to work at 7 because I was so pissed off I couldn't sleep.
You know, it's
Hey,
funny.
I just want to know what type of I just want to know what type of anti-black comments Brandy Rose made in the privacy of their home about Dwayne Johnson.
Now,
we saw her tweeting the word quarterback, so I imagine she has some strong feelings.
She's already tweeting out quarterbacky? No,
because like Cody's whole thing is where he talks about he wants to be the quarterback of WWE essentially, and she's like, he's the quarterback. I'm like, that man's been demoted to second string. Like,
hey, like I said, all I can do is laugh through the pain because, and like I said, when I'm not on here, I am bothered. I am turning WWE 2K22 on Rookie and beating the shit out the Rock. You know.
All right. So Floyd, you said until 4.
Oh yeah, I was up at 4, and I had to be up in 3 hours, and I finally went to sleep, and it was like that alarm hit, and I was like, "Fuck me," and I was mad at the Rock all over again.
All right, so all this was happening. Rich is actually in town at the time, and so like I went out, hung out with him in downtown Dunedin, and I had to get back early because I had to get up to go to the gym for an early morning thing, and like. Even while knowing that like I was losing out on hours, I still stayed up a little bit later to read all the stuff before, like the same as you, except for exact different feeling and reason. Like, you felt pain. It was one of the best nights on Twitter ever.
I'm like
absolutely was.
I'm like refreshing my screen, hoping it was a mistake.
Nope.
Like, and then I watched the video.
Maybe Cody misspoke. Yeah. Maybe he didn't mean to bring the Rock out. Maybe the music didn't mean to play. Maybe he didn't mean to shake that man's hand. Maybe he didn't mean to get that whispered in his ear and smile like a jackass.
Like Cody's
maybe he didn't mean to walk out the ring.
Bro, that look on Cody's face is just like
a Cody fan. He's wearing a Mets hat. He said to Cody, when Cody was like, "Yeah, let's get him. We're gonna finish the story." All of a sudden he said, but not now." And he said, "Fuck." And all of a sudden the Rock's music hit. That man's head was down, and he was like. And then he did the handshake and the dap with Rock. And he walked out the ring. And as he walked out the ring, that fan said, "Where the fuck are you going?" The Rock basically said, "Hey, get out the ring. The grown-ups are going to talk now."
Bro,
you know,
is like
he got sent to his room.
This is like a little kid. Imagine this scenario. Like a little kid is there. And then all of a sudden, his hero is there, and his hero blows his own brains out in front of the kid. Like, that's what Cody did on SmackDown. He blew his own brains out in front of fucking the world, Craig.
And when is the last time Cody went this long without tweeting? He did not tweet. He did not anything. He didn't like anything? He didn't like anything. He just stayed off Twitter. He saw it all, probably. Huh?
He still got that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But I know, like I said, he did everything his way to just not make his presence, just let it happen, you know, and he sat back, and I was just like, to me, that said more than anything that he was pissed.
He tweeted tonight, apparently.
I mean, he had a fucking bull rope match with Nakamura tonight.
Yeah, he just won it.
Yeah. We should move on to another topic.
We got an hour and a minute off this shit.
Yeah, just incredible audio. Jesus.
What are y'all gonna do when Damian comes and cashes it in on Cody like 2 seconds after he wins the belt at WrestleMania?
He doesn't. We're gonna bring it back on, and we're gonna go 90 minutes on it.
You know, if Cody wins it and then just he doesn't have to carry that shit around.
Yeah.
I consider that a W.
Yeah, I don't. I've even said when people ask who do you think is leaving WrestleMania weekend with that title, with Seth's title, I say Damian Priest, 100%.
Under no circumstances, I'm Cody. I'm politicking and say, hey man, he needs to come in and cash in like Seth did, to where like the match leaves in a 3-way, and like he pins Seth, and like I don't get pinned, and I also never have to hold it or touch it.
Drew just
if he puts that shit on Rich,
Drew just attacked Cody after his match.
For him.
Like, we might come on this show,
Twitter, but it ain't gonna be good for him.
We might come on this show and the entire like One Nation Radio like show from that week get like struck down because put that shit on will just be on loop. Like, we will be doing the podcast over the instrumental. I will find the instrumental or remake or something, and we will literally do the podcast with the put that shit on instrumental playing underneath us. Like, when it comes time to review Cody's match.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen these interviews lately. Like, I don't think exactly the best thing in the world to be out here using AB music, but man, like that CTE AP gonna have to play.
Yeah.
Drew attacked Cody, so they're like, okay, we're gonna distract you even more. Now Cody's in a feud with Drew.
Misdirections.
Yep.
You don't know what's happening to him now.
Yeah, because Seth can't wrestle. Seth's next match is gonna probably be WrestleMania. Like,
man. So last week I busted open some of the Vince McMahon allegations. I think there's been a lot of great audio on the network about it. Imp did a show where he thoroughly, in extreme detail, went over the lawsuit and how you should really kind of look at this thing. Obviously, we've had some audio from other folks. I believe Trish and Sarah are coming back this week with something I would anticipate hearing them talk about it as well. But I talked about it last week, but there ended up being like another kind of twist to the story. I had sent out a tweet and I was like, man, I don't think Vince McMahon's going to go quietly. And this is going to set up the ultimate scenario where they all turn on each other. And the first domino has fallen when it comes to turning on somebody. John Laurinaitis has got his own lawyer, and I believe he has brought a suit against Vince, saying that he was a victim as well. And if you read it, is that possible? Sure.
Yeah, but either way, what it's not doing is denying what happened or not denying that any of this stuff happened.
So like immediately Vince McMahon's like the plausible deniability, like the vehement denial is already out the window. I believe Ann Callis, who is the lawyer, is basically saying Janelle Grant, like, this is not going to be like, this is not a settlement is not going to make this go away. Like, they want to blow up the culture at WWE and encourage more people to come forward. We know there are more NDAs out there. We know there's more money to account for this stuff. What do you guys think about Laurinaitis turning on Vince here? And what do you make of? I didn't obviously get your thoughts on all this last week, James, but and Floyd, you really get to talk about WWE on your show. What do you guys think of all this?
It was his only option. If he wants to have any type of life, you know what I mean? Like, he's married. Like Vince is basically divorced from Linda, living on his own. John Laurinaitis is married, and he has two stepdaughters that are basically a part of the wrestling industry and have their own image. Like, he had no choice but to turn on Vince if he wants any type of life. If he just doesn't want to like move to some kind of remote island and live alone, he had to turn on Vince. I don't know if he's guilty. I don't know if he's anything, but strategically, if you're playing this like the game of chess, it was his only move.
I do not know John Laurinaitis. But I will say that most characterizations of John Laurinaitis is not positive. I'm not going to get into the snitching, not snitching part because ultimately it's not important. John Laurinaitis was a part of this, and this is a route he's deciding to go with it, seemingly to cover his ass.
Absolutely.
And, it's honestly pathetic. it's survival. So whatever, but nonetheless, no less pathetic. And whatever he has to testify towards, whatever else to get a lighter sentence or whatever happens involving all this, we'll see. As you know, there's a federal investigation into this. We'll learn more, and we'll learn more discussing details on all this. And if this leads to them clearing house completely, and them changing the culture there, then that's for the best. I just wish it never came to all of this and all of the pain that people had to go through for this. I don't know much of the details on this stuff. I've heard read some things that are just alarming and disgusting and vile. And like, I'm okay with wrestling not existing if this shit don't happen to people. Like, regardless of my fandom, as you know, y'all are watching, y'all are listening. I've been watching this shit for over a decade, covering it for over a decade with Rich. Like, people are gonna have to. I guess some people will have to make their line on, is it still for them? We've talked to a few people that are weighing that heavily. But if this is your line where you say, "All right, I'm done," I don't blame you. I don't.
I would ask this as a person that is, wrestling my whole life, right? Watching wrestling my whole life, been a part of it my whole life. If you take that line that you can't watch wrestling anymore, how do you ever watch another TV or movie? Because we know this shit's been going on in Hollywood before wrestling existed.
Even before with Me Too and all that stuff.
Yeah. So we've known this existed. So how do you say, "Hey, I'm done with wrestling," and then watch anything else?
So I'm not a person that is into how people want to police or people want to boycott what disgusts them. So like, I can't speak to you on that. I just know that like people have their lines or whatever else, and if that's their line, fine.
And that's what I'm saying.
I can't speak to people's personal experience or what they've dealt with to where it's like, hey, something might have read something that might have, it might have made them think of something they've had to go through. Who knows?
Unfortunately,
it makes it personal in a way that like I'll never understand. I'll never know that intimately. Yeah,
I have told a few people in this story. When I was 16 or 17, I was looking into trying to become a professional wrestler, and I'm a kid. I've looking at training schools. There was training school in Oklahoma, ran by, not going to remain names. My sister, my half sister, she had somebody in her family that was a trainer in another area, and what they told me when I said, "Yeah, this is what I want to do," they were like, "Oh yeah, you're kind of big enough, all that kind of stuff." And they was like, and I was like, "Yeah, my goal is to make it to the WWE, just like anybody's goal was at that time." And they said this, and I hope trigger warning. And they was like, "If you want to make it to the WWE, just know you're gonna have to suck dick." 16 years old, no filter. That's what they told me. Did I know any truth? Did I question it? This is what they told me. And then in that moment, I was like, I don't think I want to do this. Never took a bump, never worked in wrestling.
No. Not me.
Yeah. So these are people that
not what I like
worked,
to do.
had worked in wrestling. This is what they told me. And I was like, so since I was 16.
So all y'all be doing this or what? Like,
since I was 16, like I said, just because you're on the internet, I've been clear, you're not on the IWC. There is levels to this shit. There's levels to this shit. So I found this out, and it's so, like, to me, this is a person 16 years old at home in Oklahoma City finding out about this information. And you telling me, you can tell me that anybody that worked there that didn't know this shit. So I've always had this kind of skewed view on what wrestling is. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any of this easier to read, hear, understand, all that stuff. But I've kind of realized this thing that I love was ran by monsters a very long time ago. So maybe I've become numb to it. So like when this thing came out, I was like, oh shit, okay. Then my brain went back to 16 years old, and I'm like, maybe they weren't lying to me. Because, as I've gotten older, I've questioned whether, they were just trying not to get me to get in the wrestling business. But now I see this happening, and they say, oh, this is terrible. This is like the worst shit I've ever heard.
Look.
But what aren't you hearing? You know what I mean? You got 7 NDAs out there, at least.
Look, there have been plenty of stories of people wanting to break into wrestling in their first time, at a wrestling spot. They got their arm broken or something like that, or their leg broken.
Yeah.
And then it's a lot of them, they will come back and then they will be taught. I want to know who was out here sucking dick and then came back. We were on one thing. Now it's turned into comedy hour, unfortunately. But that now that's all that's in my mind now is that terrible thing. So now that you said this terrible thing, I've now added to the terrible thing with the comedy. Unless Rich wants to add on with it too, we can move on. Fair?
Yeah. All I'm saying is, and I said this before the show, and for the people that jumped in as we press record. If I believe victims. I believe everything that happened to her, and she was put in this situation, and she didn't feel like she had a choice. I 100% believe that. But if you believe that, how can you believe that the men had any choice? This is the most powerful man in wrestling for 20-something years.
I mean, think of all the jokes about Shawn Michaels over the years.
Yeah. So how do you think John Laurinaitis, who, from what I say, didn't have any advanced degrees or MBAs, who's in this executive position in the WWE, how do you think? Do you think he felt like he had a choice? I don't know this man. I don't know this man either. But did he have a choice?
I don't know. But we do know that he knew.
Rich people.
And we do know they was out here engaging in Birdman and Wayne tactics. So
dictators dictate everybody. That's all I'm saying. This dude was the most powerful man in wrestling. There was nowhere else to go. There was no other company to go to.
That's true. But I would also like when dictators get toppled, they hold like.
They gotta blow all that shit up.
They go along with them out.
Oh,
they don't get the he was a man too powerful. That don't tend to happen. They tend to drag your body on across the street too.
Hey dude, I always said if I was anybody that knew or got involved, your only chance in this situation, come out, say what you knew.
Snitch.
Come out, say what you knew. Say what you knew. Say what Vince had on you, because Vince had something. And throw yourself at the mercy of public opinion. Because if we find out, it's your ass. Laurinaitis, there's no coming back anywhere. He's just trying to make it where he could go
fired.
The dude just trying to make it where he can live in his little suburb, wherever he lives, and be left alone. That's all he's trying to do right now. He's financially good. Because he worked at WWE too long not to be,
now, we don't know how the court.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they come.
He's good
but to blame this person and to join in on the other side of the suit or whatever he's trying to do, literally he's just trying at this point in time. Like I said, I'm not like
he's grasping at straws.
Oh yeah, he's like, dude, I just want to be able to walk down the street without people looking at me like, oh, that's a fucking monster right there. Even though he probably is.
Yeah. I mean, that man might have to get used to the Henry Hill lifestyle,
When you're rich enough, you can find a spot. Like I even said, if I was Vince, I'd be out the country now. I'd be gone.
And Russell Simmons?
Yeah, I'd be gone. You would not be able to find me. They would be like, you wouldn't even find me to serve me. because that's what money buys you. It buys you anonymity. It buys you, privacy and all this. I'd be gone. There would be no facing this in court. I'd be out.
I feel so bad for Janelle Grant when Laurinaitis comes out and flips, and it's like, hold on, man, you trying to distract? It's like you causing confusion. Like we heard Tupac used to say, you causing confusion. Like whether we have to debate whether Laurinaitis was a victim or not. That to me is distracting, like in a way that a fake hashtag with Cody is not. Because now you actually have to worthwhile discussion whether John Laurinaitis is a victim. However, like literally nothing has changed. Like she's still the one that's driving the guts of this thing forward. She's still the one. Oh, OBS says disconnected. That's not good. I guess it'll reconnect me. But yeah, it's I don't understand why with this whole thing with Laurinaitis, like he's just I don't know where to evaluate him aside from you're a monster too, because that is it's such a kind of morale testing thing for me.
Yeah. So for me, I'm just in the look. We can get to his side of it as far as what he feels he was pressured to do, but those are still things he did nonetheless. So that's kind of where I am on it until I hear more information.
Ari Emanuel, TKO, whoever, I just say just back up the Brinks truck and make this go away. As a business, that's all you can do. As a person that was like, I wasn't even here.
WWE's involved in this too.
Yes.
Because there are two unnamed execs that knew about all this shit besides Laurinaitis. At least two. They're named in the suit.
Yeah, like the chick says, this is far. The lawyer lady, says this is like farther more than this is more than the settlement. And I'm like, there's a number. There's a number. Are they willing to pay the number?
I mean, whatever the number is, there's more. Like, ultimately is going to come down to or not what it comes down to, but there are more people than there is a number to be able to make this go away. The numbers. I mean, there's too many people. So
from what I understand, if they pay for this one to go away, because a lot of the other NDAs are waiting to see what happens with this one. So if they pay for this one to go away, the other ones die.
I heard a little different. So, or maybe I'm misremembering. So I heard that there are people that
they're like chomping at the bit to find out what happens.
I've heard that. I've also heard that there are people that are going to go forward through this even without this, outside of this, and it'll just be more stuff to learn. So either way, this is a bad, an awful story about this company, and it ain't going away no time soon. I don't imagine.
Yeah, and the people that thought lowly about wrestling, it didn't change them, but it is changing a lot of people that love wrestling's mind, because it's this is no matter what, this was the culture of the company, whether you loved it at one time when you were younger or loved it now. This was a culture. This isn't an
isolated incident.
Yeah. This isn't just one man acting crazy. You know what I mean? This was how you succeeded there, apparently.
Yeah. So moving on. I wanted to talk to Floyd. It's been a while since we talked to Floyd about AEW. We've got a bunch of new viewers. Welcome, guys. So kind of like a temperature check, because I feel like with the C2 wrapping up, we got the title change, and some really strong programming to start the year. There was a lot of negativity, going on with AEW between the firing of CM Punk, kind of general reactions to it, the end of MJF's title reign, and just like the attendance woes. And I think quietly, like, the programming has recovered in these 2 months. Collision's been something every week. I hear something good. I actually watched a show last week. I think Dynamite's had all but like every show except maybe one this year, which was really strong.
What was the show after or a couple weeks ago that was like after Carolina or South Carolina?
What was
the one right after that stunk?
I don't remember exactly. I'll think about it.
Because it was North Charleston where they were in South Carolina, and then like that show actually turned out good.
Oh, it was Savannah.
Yeah,
okay.
Savannah stunk.
Savannah, yep. Floyd, what's your overall read on AEW right now, and are things picking up?
That's what it is. I think they're rebuilding. They're rebuilding after the CM Punk thing, and it took, in their first, not critically acclaimed pay-per-view, they had to start from scratch with Samoa Joe as champion, which is an amazing champion. And it's as a person that covers AEW every week, I was down during the MJF, at the end of MJF. I mean, I even, like, if you listen to the show, it was hard for me to come on and be the regular positive Floyd, because it was just like, I don't really care about what's going on. Everyone knows this is Adam Cole, and it's like we needed to get past that. And we did. And it's fixed with Samoa Joe, Swerve, Hangman. They fixed the world title match. It's become about the title. I've said on the show many times, the thing about the AEW that I loved, it was that there was the singing MJF and Chris Jericho. There was all the sports entertainment stuff happened, at the beginning of the show, the middle of the show, but the main event was pure. The main event was, Chris Jericho being the world champion. Then it was Jon Moxley, and it was always about the world title. Everything else happened earlier in the match. Sting doing the cinematic matches, doing the dentist match with Britt Baker. All that stuff happened at the beginning of the show, but the end of the show was about wrestling, and every belt, all that bullshit stayed away from the world title. Then MJF first started, has the match for Bryan Danielson, has a lot of good matches right at the beginning, and then he's like, oh, we're gonna bring the bullshit into the world title, and it just changed the vibe of the whole promotion changed the vibe, and we really needed to get past that to fix it. And unfortunately, it did drive some people away, and it's easier to drive people away than it is to get them back. So they're working on getting them back right now. And where they're working on getting them back, they're working on finding the AEW. And the attendance thing, I've had this opinion for about a year as the attendance low. There used to be something special about going to an AEW show, where they were, the people were going to come out. They were going to come at the end. They'd bring the CM Punk, would be like, sing a song. Remember he's hugging Jungle Boy saying, yeah, I don't want to fight y'all, all that stuff. And it was just like, when you were in the building, you were going to get a unique experience. It was going to be more than wrestling. It was going to be more than the WWE. You were going to get this unique family, rah, we're going after the WWE feel, right? And then it was just like, I remember it was during the Cody thing, and it was like Cody stopped coming out at the beginning of the show, at the end of the show, and it was Tony Khan all the time. And then, they had CM Punk, and it was like, oh, this is great. And it's just like, even now, if you ask me what is unique about going to an AEW show versus a WWE show, a year ago, I could have described 100 things. Now I can't describe one thing. It's just a wrestling show. And it's just like, when you're not going to out sports entertain WWE, because WWE is going to sell tickets because it says WWE. AEW is going to need more of a hook to keep their fans coming in. They're going to have whoever's going to be the rah-rah guy. They're going to have to put down the WWE. I know a lot of people are like, well, they're always coming to the WWE, because their fans wanted it. Because you were coming to the AEW show, because it wasn't just going to AEW and supporting people that look like Eddie Kingston and Samoa Joe, people that wouldn't get pushed in WWE. It was more like, hey, I love them and fuck you. And then they kind of stopped saying fuck you. And people liked saying fuck you. You know, they wanted to say fuck you to WWE. People enjoyed that. It was like, you know, it is like, you had the WWE fans wearing the AEW shirts and carrying the AEW signs to WWE events. When's the last time you saw that? When? It doesn't exist because we're not the army anymore. Cody was the general of this army. And it worked because Cody wasn't the owner of the company. He wasn't. Because you don't want to see this from the owner company. Tony Khan is supposed to be above this. You know, you need one of the other guys to be that voice. And I don't know who's going to step up in it. I don't know who's going to step up or if anybody's ever going to step up. But that magic that came with going to AEW, following why people were traveling everywhere, why I was at the first night of Dynamite, why people were on the fucking boat at 3, is because it was like, we are AEW. We are AEW. It felt like the fans, the wrestlers, everybody were to AEW, and it's lost that. And I don't know how you get it back.
I think it's going to be hard to get that back when, like, not insignificant amount of the roster are ex-WWE guys / want to go back.
Correct. I mean, that's the big thing. I am big on this. I understand how wrestling works, and I think I fully understand how contracts work, right? But if I'm Tony Khan and somebody says, I want to go to WWE, let me see how long it takes to get this paperwork done. Go. If you want to be the next guy to lose to Gunther, good. Where does Andrade slot in? Andrade doesn't have a chant. He doesn't have a little hand symbol for anybody
He's going to do off. This is going to be Alberto Del Rio Part 2.
Because Andrade is not an entertainer. He is a wrestler. They don't want wrestlers in WWE.
There is no spot for him.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I think they assigned him to Raw, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's never going to be the world champion. He wasn't going to be that in AEW either, I don't think.
We knew that in 2017.
Yeah,
right. And he's being pushed as a babyface on Raw.
I'm sorry, 18.
So it's like,
18. Sorry.
Like, are they going to let him cut promos? No.
Right.
Like, you know,
his wife's over there.
Yeah.
No,
different circumstances.
Dude, his only career path is Charlotte getting back and he being like her valet. Because what is he gonna go back to NXT? He gonna go wrestle what's Trick. I don't even know the chair. Yeah,
he's gonna wrestle Trick. War.
He gonna wrestle Ilya. You know, is he gonna lose to Santos? You know, because Santos stayed. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, you know, Triple H is leaning towards Santos. And it's just like, I don't see his spot in the WWE. Because the people in the WWE that are really like LA Knights and all that stuff, it's about the entertainment value of your music. It's about what they can chant when you come out there. You know, so whatever. I'm like, man, I see his ceiling as losing to Gunther. And that's his ceiling. They're going to warm him up to get chopped by Gunther 100 times.
He got a job.
Put on a great match.
He's working a job where his significant other is also on the job. Like he got different agendas than someone that I imagine the average person that's as talented as he is would. So like it is what it is. Like WWE is not like always for people like the place where like I'm going to go and prove my worth. Sometimes it's time to get paid.
Yeah.
Time to just get a job where I can always have it in a steady pay and I can be on the road and do what I need to do and have the lifestyle I want to have.
And it's so funny when he thought about leaving was after the C2, probably his hottest period in AEW. Right. He came out of the C2 probably hotter than any other wrestler coming out of the C2, even losing, showing that, hey, losing is not that bad, you know, if you do it right. And it was like, oh, okay, they've repositioned this man. They've shown the world he can wrestle again. Oh, I'm out. Later. I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah. I think there are positive signs, especially like the first 2 months. Like there's, you know, new agendas for the championship. Like, I think people are really rallying around Swerve right now. I think they're into the idea of Swerve and Hangman, like this multi-week story. Of course, everybody's kind of buzzing about the free agent acquisitions that are in the air between, Kazuchika Okada possibly, and Mercedes Moné, and Will Ospreay's imminent debut in the company, which could be any week now. CMLL has been introduced into AEW, and this is really cool. Like, between Volador Jr., Mascara Dorada, Hechicero, I believe there was one other guy. I couldn't remember.
Was it Mrs.
Mystico? It was Mystico.
Okay,
sorry.
Mystico. Okay.
It was like the Hechicero and Danielson match. It was in Edinburgh, Texas. It looked like an old lucha arena. It looked like something like that CMLL would run or AAA would run in, like, not Mexico City or something. And it was really hot. I got to watch Hechicero for the first time against Danielson, and it was awesome to see a wrestler I've never seen before become a fan the first time I watched him. And I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. This rules. So, like, there are a lot of, like, I think fan servicey things going on right now, like, that are, things that people want to see. The women's division is much improved. Yeah. The arrival of Queen Aminata, Lady Frost, Mariah May.
How do you say this?
Deonna Purrazzo.
Deonna Purrazzo. And also, like, as you mentioned, like, as you get these people on the screen, you have to take certain people off the screen.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'm waiting for Britt to come back. I wasn't
even talking about Britt in a particular situation. I was thinking of someone that, like, I saw every fucking week on the show, and I was tired of it.
The one, maybe a color is in her name.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I was just saying what I was excited about. I'm excited about Britt, and hopefully Jamie Hayter coming back from injury. It seems like a focus on the women's division. This is the
Thunder Rosa coming back into the fold as well.
Yeah, and it's just like, and it just seems like a lot of people that can, that people know can wrestle are coming on, and it's
like if you have good wrestlers, like, it's easier to do good wrestling stuff.
Yeah, it's just like I think Britt taking her time, was strategic, and also, I think it's
Also, right? Like, storylines abound, right? Like, we have, even the Julia Hart Scott Blue thing, that's a storyline. You got the Saraya and Angelo and Ruby thing going on of the deceit. Like, Tony Storm is, like, fucking hilarious on commentary every single week. It's rounded into form. I feel like it's the best it's been since, like, maybe, like, peak Riho.
And I'm waiting on Athena to get the call up. Come on, it's the like, a lot of times the best women's wrestling from a week to week basis has been on their ROH site.
She was the best women's wrestler in America last year.
Yeah, the ROH site last year, and no one was watching the matches, and it's just like I literally thought she was going to go ahead and lose to
Billy Starks.
At the pay-per-view, and then you basically get called up, and it's just like, at this point in time, it's it's like something gets long in the tooth, and it's like everybody knows she's great. It's like, when are you gonna go with it? But now with everybody coming back, she might be best in ROH. I think her and Nyla are about to feud in ROH right now. So
yeah. And I didn't even mention the rankings are back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was always a big fan of the rankings. Same. I did have to put out this disclaimer. It's just a storytelling device. It's one of the lines that me and Joe Lanza are, like, completely in the same, like, it's a storytelling device. At no point, like, have the rankings, like, in any sport been like, oh, one's going to wrestle two or play football against two. And it's just like, Florida State is your biggest example of the rankings always not meaning.
I've covered that on the show enough. Floyd.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that rankings always not making sense. You know what I mean? They don't always make sense. It's wrestling. It's a rankings based on a TV show. So honestly, take it with use it what it's for, entertainment purposes only. It's not gospel. It's not the Bible. It's just a guide to decide who's wrestling next.
I think it's
go ahead.
I like people like the meltdowns over this is just like I don't understand it. Like it's like, do you want this company to do different things or not?
Well, my thing is I haven't heard anybody give me a good reason why they dislike it. Because every reason I've heard why they dislike it, I'm like, oh, you're not getting like the positives of this, and the things you think are negative aren't actually negatives. It's only negatives if you have an incompetent booker. Like if you book well, I can make a power ranking of all the wrestlers, and we all do anyway. That's how we know when people's titles have title shots come in, because people build momentum via wins and losses and winning big matches like all the time. And all that is basically like a little scoreboard to tell you this person is headed towards a title shot. This person looks like they could potentially get it, and then they have a setback, and that knocks them off. Right? Like that's the reason why like Jon Moxley is 3 on the thing instead of like number 1.
Yeah. And
I think also something that goes on with that is it encourages you to put different people out on the show. Like if there are going to be people that are doing falls, you're going to start seeing like Christopher Daniels, Dustin Rhodes, Jeff Hardy, Rob Van Dam coming out. Swords beat a couple of these guys. Mm-hmm. And like you're going to see less Sky Blue just getting ran out there every week and losing like 6 weeks in a row. Right. You're going to see less of that because it's going to blow her up in the rankings, and they're not going to do that. Like, this is like way better, like for the promotion.
And it has us talking about it, which is what it's supposed to do. Right. Rankings in all sports is for you to have discussions and talk about it. It's like in UFC, they use the rankings they brought out the rankings. Why? So they could sell Fight Night. So they could say this is 2 versus 7 instead of this random guy versus this random guy. This is how you build it. Swerve and the Hangman is a big match, but it's even bigger match because it's 1 versus 2, and more than likely the person is going to Revolution. It's like it went from being just another match on Dynamite to being a pay-per-view level match on Dynamite.
See, now, like maybe we're all preaching amongst the choir because like all 3 of us, big sports fans.
Yeah,
we grew up with this. Yeah, the people that I see struggle with these sorts of things. Like, why do wins and losses matter and stuff? And like, why do you care about like championships mattering more than whatever the subplot is that is selling the fight? Is like because you have to use that stuff in proper context to make the whole universe make sense. If the friendship matters more than the belt, then like, what is everyone else doing?
Yeah.
Is everything else they're doing, is everyone else doing not important?
Yeah.
Like, so, I think that's a lot of it. It's like, it's just another thing that informs the universe you're watching. And it's just confirmation of like, all right, what am I not paying attention to if like something doesn't feel right for me when I'm looking at these rankings? Yeah. Right? What am I missing? Or what are they missing? Right? Like, are they actually like executing their story well enough to where like I get or most fans get or understand these rings, looking at me like, oh, it makes sense, and most shrug. So for me, that's why I've always liked it. And like even without the thing, if this without the power rings, if this thing is booked well, you kind of know who's on deck anyway.
But you have a visual aid, like know Wardlow. Everyone knows Wardlow's coming. How you gonna know Wardlow's close? He's gonna be 5, then he's gonna be 4, then he's gonna be 3, and Wardlow's number 1 contender.
It's like it is ranking. How do I say that? It is challenger storytelling. It's a challenger scoreboard for dumb motherfuckers like Bully Ray that didn't get that like when. Deonna Purrazzo and Tony Storm both have the same tattoo, and then one of them says they live together. That's the story, is that like the conflict is that they used to be friends and one of them has like completely changed because they've gone psychotic over the AEW Women's title. The other one is there to confront them to point out how that person has changed. But in case you need a video package for it as well, they'll give one to you as well. Stop placating these dummies, Tony Khan.
Dude, it was like, I remember when about 9 months after AEW existed, and they were like, AEW fans have, on average, have a higher level of intelligence and, make more money. They make more money. And it was like, oh, well, okay, we know this. We know who our audience is. Now let's start treating them like idiots. That doesn't make sense. You know who your audience is. You're like the PG people, they got Mondays and Fridays. We're TV 14 up in this bitch.
It's just a lot of
Wednesday and Saturday.
And for me, it's not even like, for me personally, the whole you're smart, they're dumb thing or whatever else. I don't get into that.
Yeah.
Did you pay attention or not? Because if you don't, because often what happens is when I see people stumble upon this, it's mostly like they just weren't paying attention. And like, look, if this is a pastime, you ain't gotta pay attention as hard as we do as people to analyze a 2-hour show and then talk about it for 2 hours. Like, right? You don't have to do that. But like, I think often what happens is like, hey, do you even just pay attention while the show was going on?
Are you actually watching? Like,
well, that too. That's another part of it too. It's like people don't watch; they just hear stuff and like, well, wait, what? Why? And like, here's why, motherfucker. And also, and like, that's how people get themselves in trouble. It's like because like, are you asking good faith or not? And ultimately, a lot of these people that are doing this aren't asking good faith. They're doing the whole I wish this place didn't exist.
Dude, I used to engage in Twitter a little bit. And this is why I quit engaging, because I realized that a lot of people that were complaining about stuff didn't watch the show. They watched the clip and they broke down the clip and like, this clip doesn't make sense. And I'm like, well, there was a session before then. There was a session after that. The announcers explained what was going on. And I'm just like, I'm not going to fight you because first of all, I don't punch down. Second of all, there is no reason to engage with somebody that wasn't going to like it no matter what. Like, if you come in, I remember, oh God, last year, this dude messaged me and said, Jungle Boy turning heel. And I hope he's listening to this because my friends sometimes listen to stuff I'm on. And he said, Jungle Boy turning heel was finger poke of doom bad. That's what he said. And I was like, why? He was like, he was so hot as a face. And I was like, okay, when's the last time you watched the program? And he was like, well, and he said like 8 months before. I was like, dude, after this Ford thing, the crowd completely turned on that man. And turning him heel just made sense.
This is a refresh.
And then he was like, oh, I didn't know all that. I was like, what the fuck are you commenting for? If you don't watch the show, how can you complain about the show? It's like, well, I didn't understand it. So that's why I don't engage. I scroll down Twitter and see so much stupid shit that I just keep scrolling by because I'm going to listen to this show where like I said, if I'm going to listen to someone, I'm going to have to at least believe you're as smart or smarter than me. Other than that, I'm just going to fucking ignore you. I don't care if you DM me. I'll just scroll past your DM because this shit is stupid. So when I listen to the show, I'm listening to Rich. I'm listening to James. Like, dude, I learned something when I listen to Rich and James. I'm watching the Voices of Wrestling, the flagship. I learned something when I listen to Joe and Rich. I don't learn shit from Twitter, except people are way dumber than I ever gave them credit for being.
It's not a bug. It's a feature of the app. Like you see stuff in your timeline that makes you want to like start immediately typing "you fucking moron." And like for me, like I tend to, I don't tweet much, but like there are certain times when it's like I see something that's like, this is so dumb. Eric Bischoff just said, "Why is the TNT title being defended on TBS?" And I'm like, oh, you booked WCW. Let me see if the U.S. title has ever been defended in Japan. Oh, Kensei Sasaki beat Sting in Sumo Hall.
Hey,
you don't self-awareness, huh? Oh,
I one thing I give credit to on Eric Bischoff. I'm not a fan of his at all, except his WCW run.
Please say
that man knows. This man knows his audience.
You respect the group.
Yeah, he gets on there. He gets on Twitter and reads the dumbest takes, and then he goes and placates to them on the show and tells them why they're not that dumb. He's like, "Oh, I know you think you're stupid, but you're really not that stupid." And it's like, "Oh, so now I'm smart." No, he's just telling you you're not that stupid. You're not smart.
An example, content, motherfucker. Like,
so it's just like, no, it's just like he's just like when he says he knows people come on him to see him run down AEW, say flippy shit. The guy that basically invented the cruiserweight division, which started the flippy shit, is complaining about flippy shit.
It's too flippy.
It's too what?
Too much.
25 years ago, when in '96, when Rey Mysterio was out here, doing all kinds of crazy things with knees that would soon, spontaneously combust. Like, that was just when the flipping was just right. But this flipping right now in 2024, it's too flippy. It's too flippy. Motherfuckers is Goldilocks.
The white man's ice is colder.
You did the same ending for your show for 83 weeks, and somehow you were this creative genius. Yep. It was the same ending. I enjoyed
in the main event. NWO runs out.
Yeah, I enjoyed that shit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking like I didn't enjoy that shit. I was also less intelligent then because I was like a teenager, but I enjoyed.
Your brain was still developing.
Yeah, you know what? Perfect example. I don't know if you've ever watched the 80s He-Man. Dude, He-Man was my dude. He-Man was my dude growing up.
By the power of Grayskull?
Yeah. So
that was a cartoon that was a cartoon that like exists only because of the toy line, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It was it was my shit. 29, it came on streaming and I watched this. And I watched one episode and the dialogue in it, and I was like, was I mentally handicapped? Because I don't know why I enjoyed this shit. And it's just like, yes, I go back and I did this. I was watching all the Nitros that came around my birthday. I was in there. I was bored, so I gave myself a little project. And I was watching it, and I was like, it was unwatchable. I did not want to watch this. And I was like, and in my life, when back then, oh God, Floyd, glued to it for 3 hours. This is the greatest television anybody has ever put on live. But I grew up. I started listening to One Nation Radio. I started listening to Voices of Wrestling. I started listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. And guess what? My taste went up. I have evolved. So you can evolve or get moved around. Now. Yeah, I'm not saying you can either evolve or you can just be dumb. Like it's like I know there's this computer, but I'm gonna still be on the typewriter. This is just feels better under my fingers. What the fuck are you thinking? I still got the rotary phone. That's what fucking Eric Bischoff is. He's sitting there with his rotary phone saying, "Oh yeah, this is way better than a cell phone." Nigga, what the fuck are you doing? What are you thinking? Okay.
Shit.
I don't get angry very much.
Floyd, have you ever had to bring that 9 around on the rotary phone?
Yes. They're like, we dial 911, the person dies before you get the 3 digits in.
Foolish, man. Foolish.
Like, and I'm like, oh man, you know what? Man, these my videos are coming up too fast. Let me go back to dial up. Yeah, that the anticipation. I'm waiting for this fake nude of this wrestler to come up. Let me wait 10 minutes. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna warm up me a hungry man in the oven. No microwave don't work. Oh, while I'm waiting, I'm like, who the fuck would do that now? We got better options. There's better options.
You got Uber Eats now, nigga. Like,
oh my god.
yes, if you want to clamor for the 80s, go for it. I'm just like, I've moved on. I mean, exactly what I said about The Rock. I love The Rock in 99. I love The Rock in 2005. But I go back and listen to a promo, and he's like, you smell like an elephant crapped on a blah, 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 and nonsensical shit. And we laugh because The Rock said it the way The Rock said it. And he's going to come back, and then he's going to do it for Roman, and he's going to say the Roman jumped on a musky testicle, and it wrapped over his head, and that's why the hair looks like that, or some stupid shit. And everybody's going to say, this is the greatest promo ever. Where Eddie Kingston's on AEW every week at the drop of a hat delivering better promos than The Rock has ever delivered.
Bro, imagine a serious Rock promo. Like,
he cuts them from time to time, like the one when he right before he basically cut his own version of a Hard Times promo at Royal Rumble 2013. That was a great promo.
That shit still felt like a full like gimmick performance. Like that man was acting like he was a preacher. Like, put your hand on the screen. Like, reach out and touch the Rock's hand.
Hey, Rich. So was Dusty Rhodes.
Yes. Again, I mean, you got to find the people that speak to your time. You got to put on a wrestling show to speak to your time. You have to put on a wrestling show that heels and faces line up with the values of 2024. Mm-hmm. You can't compare it to what the values of 1999 was. Jerry Springer was a fucking hit in 99. That shit wouldn't last 2 episodes. Now we get canceled after the first episode.
That's true because they did quickly get rid of Power Slap.
Yeah. So it's just like
unfortunate.
You have to what is your audience now? Who is your audience now? And I thought for a long time Tony Khan had his finger on it, and some different people came in. And, some people gained power, and they took him away from what the original idea. Dude, it felt like, I even said it, what's the wrestling game you like, Rich?
Fire Pro.
Fire Pro. It felt like this billionaire is basically playing Fire Pro Wrestling every week. And this is amazing. You know what I mean? This is amazing. It's like Dynamite was his Twitch stream. And he had real people acting out this, and this shit is amazing. This is the pro wrestling.
Nick Jackson, let's go.
Yeah. This is the pro wrestling I've been waiting my whole life for. It's back. And then he's like, "Oh, okay, we should be more like WWE." Why? They already have WWE. Right. If they like WWE, they're gonna be watching WWE. Why would you want the alternative version of WWE? Yeah, and it's exactly like WWE.
I'm with you. I quite prefer it when it was like Wednesday night Mark Hitchcock's Memorial. Super show every single week. Like, wait, Ishii's wrestling who?
Yeah,
I didn't even know he was in town.
Saturday.
Look at All In.
Him in to fight Orange Cassidy. Love it.
Look at All In. You think about how the matches were and the people that you can actually still talk about that were on the show. It was like one match was like, I'm a real heavyweight, so I'm going to fight the best heavyweight in the world to prove that I'm a heavyweight. Yeah. And it was like, and everybody was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Because, it was like, this matchup shouldn't be happening. And why is it happening? And it was fresh, and there was a fresh take on it. It was presented freshly. And it's just like, don't start presenting shit that we've already seen before. Like the devil thing. It was like, I was into it when I was like, okay, it could be CM Punk. That was my thing. It could be Britt Baker. It needed to be anybody but Adam Cole. Because it was obvious it was Adam Cole. So you like at the moment it's Adam Cole, you like MJF, the person that we've booked the last 3 years as being smarter than everybody, seeing all the angles, always being ahead, knowing that he knew the JAS was going to turn on him, so he got the pinnacle ahead.
Do you remember the pinnacle reveal? It's like, yes. Why'd you go through all that shit then for asshole?
Genius. He's like, I was building my own group the whole time. Perfect. Then you're like, oh, he's an idiot that started believing Adam Cole when every person in the world knew that the devil was Adam Cole.
And that's okay.
It didn't make you.
Is just as dumb because that man that man like lost the title, and then he decided to get his revenge on MJF by like giving the title to someone else that ain't him. Goddamn dummy! And also team up with another motherfucker that hates MJF and also wants the AEW World Title in Wardlow.
I mean, you know,
can we talk about it?
I feel like there's some kinship like between Cody and Adam Cole, like giving away the opportunities.
Can we?
Hey, Adam Cole had an excuse. His ankle's like in 6 pieces.
Right.
I mean, that's an excuse. Like there's a reason.
Can we talk about how quickly in just last week, how quickly already the United Kingdom, the Undisputed Kingdom is in the bottom of an hour on Dynamite.
I mean,
the leader can't wrestle.
Yeah, and it's just like the two other the tag team champions have literally lost to every. They have lost. Yeah, I was about to say the Kingdom has lost to literally everybody over the last year. I mean, everybody who's like, oh man, this group with Matt Taven in it is tough. No, I mean, I'm not even dissing. Like, I was like, hell, Taven. When I was at the Supercard of Honor, I was wearing the Matt Taven shirt. Fan, but how he was presented up to this on your show. Why would anybody watching care about him?
Floyd.
Yeah.
You bought a Matt Taven shirt?
Oh, yeah, I like Matt Taven.
When? Like, back when he was champion?
Yeah, the G1 Supercard of Honor, like, I went in hoping he won the title.
You bought a Matt Square Taven shirt?
Yeah.
Oh,
I like Matt Taven, because you know what? You know what was great about Matt Taven? Every reason you hated him is the reason I liked him. He was a perfect heel because it was just so easy to hate that man. And I like heels. I like great heels. Like, dude, the dude came out and said, I'm Matt Taven, and got booed louder than literally, like, everybody would say, I am Matt Taven, and then immediately start booing him. And I was just like, oh, dude, this dude has it. It was like the Adam Cole day. It was just like, oh, God, people hate him, you know? You don't have to, like, when people talk about what a heel used to be, and this is an old line of thinking, is you're not supposed to do anything exciting, right? You're not supposed to give people a reason to cheer you. Again, this is 1980s, 90s thinking. Don't get me wrong. Wrestling has evolved, but when I was liking Matt Taven, again, I was still evolving as a wrestling fan, so I really liked him. Like now, I'm like, he's a guy. But back then, again, I was going through my evolution. I went through a little later than y'all did.
Back then,
I was like,
back then he was kind of a guy too. Like, don't get me wrong, like Taven's talented, but it's like,
yeah, no, he's a talented pro wrestler, but I'm just saying.
Give me Jay White, please.
Yeah. Oh, I love Jay White. Don't get me wrong. It's like people that are just like hateable. They just want to be hated, and they're not trying to be cool. They just they want to be booed. That's to me pure pro wrestling, pure heel work. And I just think a lot of times people want to be the NWO. People want to be the cool heel.
Because being a heel is in this day and age is really cool because you get to do all the shit that people say that like you are the catalyst or you are the reason for all the character decisions that happen, the most interesting ones and everything. You are the one that's progressive for whatever feud you're doing. And if you're the cool heel, you also get to sell more merch. If you're the heel that actually sucks, then like you get all that stuff too, but like you ain't making no money.
Correct. It was like even back in the day, heels weren't even allowed to have merch.
Right.
You weren't supposed to wear the heels merch.
Right.
So you weren't allowed to have merch. And it's like now it's different. It's different. And it's just like I ask other people to evolve. I started by asking myself to evolve. I started by asking myself to see wrestling different than I did in 1989. So I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm not
took a look at yourself and made a change.
Yeah. I was just about to say, you looking at the man in the mirror, Floyd.
Yeah, but and then that's the whole thing. It's like, are you introspective? Do you look at what you like and like, like I do. I like Cody.
He does. You do.
Yeah. A lot of them don't. No, like when people have their complaints about Cody, I completely understood them. I still like what I like. But I am not closed-minded enough to believe that he fits for everybody because no wrestler does, I mean, to me, it's like I saw Kenny Omega for the first time, and I only saw him for the first time because I turned on New Japan to watch Cody, and then Kenny Omega was the main event with Kazuchika Okada, and I was like, this is something I've never seen before. Has Kenny Omega ever been my favorite wrestler? No.
Same.
But oh my God, this dude is talented.
Right.
He ain't never put on a match I was bored with. You know, the dude coming out there got like with Hangman, and he's got like 9 body parts injured and still puts on a banger. And then it's like, okay, he cannot be your cup of tea, but to say he's not good, what the fuck are you watching? You know?
Drifting.
Yeah, it's like Takeshita, the first time I saw him wrestle. And I'm like, oh, somebody was like, somebody in my group was like, oh, he's just Sensei Nakamura. I'm like, what the fuck was you just watching? No, that's what they said. And I was like, I know he's Asian, don't get me wrong, but what the fuck were you watching? Did you not see his explosion? Did you not see his technique? Did you not see that clothesline? Did you not see that drop kick?
Yeah. Like Nakamura was a striker, not a power guy.
Dude, again, it made no sense. I quit engaging.
There you go. Don't engage.
Only thing they got in common is that they wear red from time to time.
This like Takeshita is something like I can truly say like I've never seen before. It was like when I was growing up, the only person that big that I saw move that smoothly was Barry Windham. It was just like it was a different wrestling. It was a different wrestling. Don't get me wrong,
right.
But how smooth and how fluid, and he always seems to be in the right spot. His power moves look just as powerful as anybody. His flying moves look just as good as people that fly. And it was just like, this dude might be the perfect professional wrestler. And then he was like, oh, he's just Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm like, okay, yep, I'm done talking to you. I mean, you're grounded, you know. Come back with, you know, it's going to be a while. You're on mute. You're on an unfollow, whatever the fuck I got to do. I don't want to see what you think anymore. And this is not, I don't consider myself like the top of wrestling intellect. There's way more people smarter than me. And I'm okay with that because I like to learn. I like to evolve. I like to people to recommend matches to me.
Right. People don't like that. People like the, you know, do the whole thing of like, oh, this person's, I've never heard of this person, therefore they must not be important. And it's like, that's just a really lazy way to approach this. Like, there's wrestling all over the world. Like the one thing that's cool about the CMLL thing is like, for years, Rich, you know, we would go to the WrestleMania weekend things, and, you know, we would see, you know, Vikingo or Cavernario, and be like, bro, like, you know, the Japanese wrestlers, they get so much notoriety, rightfully so, because they're great, but it's like, there's great Mexican wrestlers here, and it's like, we border with them. Like, why?
Right, the time zones ain't that different. Like,
we're in the same time zones, right? And, like, their shows are just up on YouTube for free. Like, CMLL puts their shit from Rio de Mexico every Friday up. And I used to always say, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get why I remember, like, this is like 2019 when I first got into Joshi, and Josh was like, yeah, man, Star's more popular to U.S. fans than CMLL. I was like, I do know that, but like I never really thought about it. But like, but now that I'm thinking about, doesn't it just seem weird to y'all?
Yeah,
it's just, I don't know, man. I'm just going on saying the examples, but like my point is like, you're never gonna be like, there's never gonna be a point where like there's a new wrestler and be like, oh, I don't want to see that. I want to see that shit because new wrestlers that you never seen is like how you kind of like think. For me, it's like how I think of like how other people can interact and you can tell more stories and have more interesting things or whatever else. Like, you're going to run out of matchups where you've seen it enough, right? You already know what what person X versus person Y match is after a certain number of times. You've seen it. No matter how many times it's spread out, if it had a number of interactions, you kind of know what's going to happen. To an extent, unless, you know, people would fundamentally change or they have a new story each time to get into the match, a new slant. But like there's a person you've never seen and they just come onto your screen, right? Like that was like, for me, you know, watching the Cruiserweights, that was a huge draw for me. Like I would see, I had like the Abner mags, like the PWIs. I would see, you know, luchadors. I would see people be like, who's this from Mexico? Who's this from Japan? I never saw them. And then see them dropped onto my screen. And they go nuts and be like, that's awesome. Like, maybe that's just like the benefit of like, we got to see that. And like younger wrestling fans didn't. So maybe they don't see the value in that in the way that we did. To see a Juventud Guerrero come out of nowhere, you know, to see a Ultimo Dragon come out of nowhere, to see Liger and stuff. I don't know. But for me, it's like, I'm always appreciative of that because like, there's more than one ways to be entertaining doing this shit. There's always going to be.
Absolutely. I will never be into GCW ever. Ever. It's not my thing.
Same.
But I everybody that goes and watches it and appreciates it, enjoy what you enjoy. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. And I have no problem saying that it's not my thing. Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's shit. It's just not my thing.
And you GCW fans, like, I know y'all get drunk there all the time. You enjoy that. Just, you know, just take it easy and, you know, go get some blood labs taken.
Yeah, I know people that are like, I'm
check on your health.
I know people that are, I'm just going to WrestleMania weekend for GCW shows.
God damn it.
Hey, oh my God. Hey, Floyd, like, I was telling Rich this the other day. Like, I'm thinking of going to Philly just for the Stardom show. Like, fly in Thursday, fly out Friday.
Let me ask: is there going to still be a Stardom show? Is Stardom still going to exist?
Oh, it'll be probably a limited roster, but that'll be all the more reason to go see it now. Because like it's the end of the era, and if it's the end of the era, then like you might want to see the roster one last time in person before it's all split up and broke up forever.
Yeah,
I guess I should hit the music then to talk about Stardom. Stardom.
Okay, first things first. The news part of it. After Stardom's 13th anniversary show on Sunday, the next day, the following day on Monday, Stardom notified executive producer / basically showrunner Rossy Ogawa and founder of Stardom, Rossy Ogawa, that his ass was fired. He's gone.
Service is no longer needed.
Yeah. Future endeavored. All that. Well, he was future endeavor. They don't wish him the best as future endeavor. They say get out. I think the word is they put him in a taxi.
They put him in a cab. They didn't even get that man an Uber XL. Like, like, nah, man, take your ass home.
Yeah, so that is true. And I think in Tokyo Sports they said they put him in a taxi. Now I'm not sure if they were actually back from Osaka. You know, Osaka, you got to keep in mind, like that's in the middle of the country, and Tokyo is on the eastern. Is on the eastern
drive.
Country. Yeah, they might. Yeah, they were like, hey, you leave and like you find the bullet train back to Tokyo on your own. But yeah, yeah, Rossy founded the promotion and like he's gone now. Him and Mayu Iwatani are the only two people that have been with Stardom this entire juncture. The thing that I would like to note is that like I heard about it and my first thought was, so that's why they took the picture with everybody in the ring at the end of the show. Now, Stardom, only for certain shows they would put the entire roster in the ring and they take take a group photo. But it was but I don't recall ever being a time, or there was very few times they ever had Rossy in there with them. So I just noticed that and I thought it was interesting. So it's like, oh, so they all knew. And the news comes out that because of the last, as we've covered Stardom over the last year or so, we've talked about how, the schedule has increased from about 2 shows a week or about 10 shows a month to somewhere around 15 shows a month. It had been kind of unsustainable for the wrestlers with the workload of dealing with injuries. There was a huge rash of injuries in the back half of last year. There's a point where, you think of their top 10 wrestlers, 6 of them were on a shelf all at one point at the same time. It was a time where like Tam was out, Mayu was out, Utami was out, Kamatani was out, Natsuko was out, Starlight Kid was out. That kind of stinks. It's really a lot of talent, but still that hurts anyone. So a lot of stuff came out as news came out. There's been less crazy stuff. At first, the news came out, I was like, wait, is he in cahoots with WWE? Is he a Fed double agent? That's been. I
mean, what's the first three letters of Fedora? FED. You know that.
Very helpful. Very helpful.
You know.
For those that don't know, Rossy has been nicknamed as Hat Man for a lot of people because he's known for always wearing fedora to cover up his baldness. So yeah, Fed fedora kid. So yeah. Anyway, that was a lot of people's thought, or a lot of people's speculation at first. And it leaves thoughts of like, oh my God, are they really trying to do NXT Japan again? And I'm thinking like, that don't make much sense because Triple H might not have a job in 6 months. So what's going on? What's happening? So Meltzer put out a report and then later followed up with last night's Observer Radio talk, and then there are also today Tokyo Sports got an interview with I forgot his first name. Okada, not Kazuchika Okada. Okada is part of
Dario Okada or something, or Taro Okada.
Taro Okada. Yeah. Toru Okada, and he has been more or less in charge of the Bushiroad side of management for Stardom. I believe I think he's the president of Bushiroad Fight, which owns Stardom. And in which he laid out that, we heard that he was poaching wrestlers and we asked him to stop, and we found out recently that it's continued. So we decided to fire him, ahead of time. Now, Rossy's side, because he also got an interview minutes later that came out on Tokyo Sports, which is like fantastic. It's like Hot 97, like motherfuckers calling it Hot 97. And he says, hey, the wrestlers were upset with the scheduling and everything that happened. And over last year or so, I have lost booking decisions and responsibilities. I've been overruled on things. The wrestlers have grown frustrated. The wrestlers have came to me and told me and said to me that they want me to, when my 5-year non-compete from the moment Stardom was bought by Bushiroad runs out, they want me to leave and to start a new promotion, and they want to go with me. On Okada's side, he said that like there are wrestlers that do want to leave. He did say that. And on Rossy's side, he says, yeah, I've taught people. It wasn't me that said I'm leaving. It is I have been basically. I have been asked by my wrestlers, and who am I to not do what my wrestlers asked me to do because I love them so, right? Because of the loyalty and the bond we've had over these years. Now, obviously someone's lying to some extent, but the fact remains that Rossy is seemingly was renegotiating his contract at the end of the year while he was losing power on booking decisions at the end or throughout 2023, as I don't think is uncoincidental that the booking that used to be amongst the best in the world started to look wonky in the light, especially in the last.
I just gotta say, when the belt came off of Julia, I thought the air came out of the balloon, because it was just like you gave her this short ass title reign, and it was like, all right.
That in fact wasn't actually a Bushiroad decision. That was actually a Rossy decision, from what I remember back in the day when it happened. Like, it was a thing where like they got to the point where it seemed like it was a lot that if you get either one of the titles, you're gonna be the champion for like 9 months to a year or plus. So he wanted to change up that pattern. What did get wonky for me though, besides that part of you want to make it fast or whatever, make it feel like title defenses matter more. That's fine. What got wonky was the timing of certain things when they started to go into action which is like weird. Like, so when they did the split up of Cosmic Angels from breaking into Club Venus as well, it was like, okay, so they're both just breaking up like the week before the biggest show in the company's history. And they're both going to win to set up them having a title for title match later in that month. That's a 4-month storyline, 5-month, 6-month storyline that you build to after the breakup. You don't just immediately go right to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then Tam becomes double champion. Then a month later, or 2 weeks later, or however many weeks later, she loses the white belt into Mirai. And Mirai gets
it was like a lot of scrambling backwards. It was like, all right, you're supposed to run the ball one way. It seemed like it was just
poorly thought out. It was poorly thought out. Go ahead.
It's like, you're supposed to run the ball one way, but you just start scrambling backwards, and then all of a sudden your ass is sacked. Like, that's what it started feeling like.
Right. So like you started seeing that in the spring of last year. So, moving back to the Rossy being out, he says that they were negotiating a new contract for him. He tells them in November that I think I want out. And this goes along with his story that like the wrestlers have been frustrated. They want him to leave. They want him to leave and start something else so that they can do what they were kind of doing or do things without like the corporate supervision of Bushiroad or the stifling creatively of Bushiroad. So, his contract was to end in March, I believe. And this show was on the 4th of February. They fired his ass before the contract runs out. So, and Meltzer, reported that like, that Bushiroad did come to some of the wrestlers that they thought were with him and in lockstep with him and threatened some type of legal action, was scared some of them, but most of the wrestlers' contracts end in March this year. So there's going to be obviously a splitting of the roster between who stays Stardom, who goes to form whatever Rossy has up his sleeve in the future. But Rossy did say, I am running a new promotion. I am leaving and starting something else new. And at first, before I found out that
WWE is swirling around that shit too, like one way or another. Like, because I'm like, where's Rossy getting his money from? Like, because it seems like
I can tell. I have ideas, right? Like, so you look at the outdate model of Stardom World. You look at the comparisons that people often make of Tokyo Pro. Their complaints is like, well, Tokyo Pro, they're a smaller company. They just put their shit right up immediately. It's aired live, whatever else. Even while their domestic gate is like yearly a quarter of what Stardom does. Those are complaints. Well, Cyberation is bigger than Bushiroad. We've known that for years, but we've always wondered like, why in the world is like Tokyo Pro so conservative? It doesn't like push forward with trying to, make their stars feel bigger. Try to grow this thing in a way to like, in an aggressive way. So you see that they also had another women's promotion called Gambari. Gambari has recently been either transferred off or shut down. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, Gambar got, they went independent.
I did say Gambari. It's Gambari. Yeah, you're right. So you gotta remember, like, Prominence got, when they first broke out from Ice Ribbon, they got distribution on Wrestle Universe. I don't find it too crazy. I wouldn't find it too crazy if whatever Rossy has up his sleeve ends up on Wrestle Universe. Like, if I were them, that's what I would go after. But we'll see. But that's regular speculation.
So can we finally get Aja Khan to make her Stardom debut now?
Possibly. In a battle royal situation, and not like she can do much. Possibly.
Fuck that unit leader, strap her up.
Unit leader. So, it's gonna be interesting to see what the fallout is from this, because obviously, the only two people for sure we know are not staying or is leaving. We know almost for sure Julie is leaving. Julie also, while this is all happening over the months, was the person most vocal about like, why is Rossy seemingly losing power struggles? Why has Bushiroad's like corporate like taken over this stuff? So that's there was word that like she hasn't hired an agent for her, possible free agency between the bidding war between potentially AEW and Stardom. So that leaves you to think like, hey,
her agent is Rossy.
Could be Rossy, or not, isn't Rossy, but like maybe, she's already decided on what she's going to do and is going to be leaving Rossy, whatever, out the door. But we know that Julia's not staying at Stardom. We know that Mayu is staying at Stardom because she has a long-term deal, or not a long-term deal, but like a deal that keeps her in place because of the movie that's coming out in May that's on her life, her biopic. So, at least everybody else up for decisions.
This is an exodus. Like this is gonna look just like. Hey, this man, there's gonna be some Masawa shit. But hey, who you with? And there's gonna be spots for people that want to stay. I wonder who will want to stay. Because I got a feeling like
because of the exposure and the money.
Yeah, I feel like I can pick some people that want to go. I feel like Momo Watanabe would want to go with Rossy.
Well, so what I want to say on this is this, right? Before we get into the speculation, before I found out Rossy for sure was going to start running something else, I was like, oh, this ain't good because this is an incredibly loaded roster. Is about to be fractured. It will not be the same again. And that kind of, given how bad the Joshi scene outside of Stardom and Tokyo Joshi Pro is, how dire the scene is, given the amount of talent that's still there, as far as opportunities and ways to make money without having to be a weekend warrior for this, I was like, oh, this stinks. This is like back to Dark Ages after we had a little chance to get some shine for a bit. But Bushiroad is going to keep. Go ahead.
They've been as sloppy on the women's side as they've been on the men's side.
Go ahead, elaborate.
Oh, like the whole deal with like losing Okada and then Ospreay like gone, like they're getting hit with the financial stuff and the office stuff seemingly.
Yeah. So, my opinion on this, now that I know Rossy for sure is going to run again, and given that where he started with Stardom, given that like he has proof of concept, in a major way again, I am cautiously optimistic of the outcome of this for the scene, right? Like Stardom's not going to be, probably not going to be Stardom again, as far as like, yeah, they can go into Yokohama Arena and they're going to put, 6,000 people in the building. But what I am optimistic of is Rossy is going to get another promotion, and it can almost immediately become a viable number 3 promotion. And if you have 3 promotions, Tokyo Joshi Pro, including as number 2, and maybe they do better because it's a serious promotion, not goofy shit. You have the roster split to where they may actually make more use of the depth because they do have enough talented people in main event level wrestlers or top of the card level wrestlers to actually split them down to split it in half if need be, in whatever variation. Plus, the scene is loaded with talent and people that just for whatever reason will not sign on with Stardom, and Rossy has worked with people or whatever else. And also the part where, and I thought about this last night, when Stardom was doing the New Blood shows, basically the Young Girl Showcase, where they were bringing in people from all over the scene that were less than 3 years of experience to wrestle on these shows and get showcase matches in spots that they otherwise wouldn't have. Otherwise, just getting young girl duty, young lioness duty. I thought like, oh, this is like, this is Rossy's way to have a pipeline to young talent without having to train wrestlers himself, without having to have people train wrestle on his own dime. Well, in retrospect, it could have just been, I've wanted out of here for 2 years. And I'm going to make Bushiroad feel this way. But ultimately, like when I leave, all the people's connections are with me. All the young people are with me. So I have a head start. I have an inside track with all these people. And Bushiroad is not still going to be a year or two off on some of these people anyway. So like people like Tomoka and her sister, for example, right? Probably in a spot. They can only fit her in to have stuff with Shuri here and there. But like on this new thing, Tomoka can get a spot. If depending on if she wants to do it or whatever else. You get my point. But like, there's a bunch of talent all throughout the scene, left and right. There always has been. And if there are, the one thing that I didn't like about Stardom when they were more or less monopolizing the scene, if you will, from a talent standpoint, was that like there are so many talented people, and when Tokyo Pro is they're a fun promotion, they're a goofy sports entertainment type promotion. There's not a second one where it's like we can really have kick-ass wrestling matches and it can draw people in. And like seeing someone like Unagi's success as a freelancer, where she could run her own produced show, Cork and Hall. What do you think Rossy can do with proof of concept, another backer, and also whatever percentage of the roster that he can get of the Stardom roster that were bigger stars than Unagi was? This could actually mean like we get more people in the scene doing what they want to do. So I'm looking at it cautiously optimistic in a way that, like, when I first heard news, I was like, "Oh, this is all over." Like, no, this might actually be for the best. So, and also like with the people leaving out of Stardom to go with Rossy, they're gonna have to hire more people and bring more people in too. So that ultimately the people that thought opportunities, like a Maya Yuki, that thought like Julia's there, I don't want a job for her, don't want to do nothing. If she goes with Rossy, boom, I can finally get my big Maya versus Maya match, right? Just speculating, but so what do you think about it, Rich? Now that I've laid out like kind of where it is now, what are you thinking about it?
I think a lot of this stuff is backroom deals, politics, and like shit falling apart a lot sooner than we thought.
Yeah.
And then it was like it makes 2023 illuminate a little bit more for me. And I seeing the long-term arc that I'm in it for is like Starlight Kid and Nazumi. I don't know how that's going to pay off, if that's going to pay off at all anymore. Kind of sad about that. I was looking forward to seeing, Sai Kamatani, like where she goes, Shuri, like how she, if she wraps it up or whatever.
I don't think she's retiring, but
I feel like they're, like WWE's involved somewhere in this. Obviously Dave was sitting on that story for a long time, working on it, and Paul Levesque was aware of all this, but somehow had not read the lawsuit.
Look, you got to be on top of things 6,000 miles away.
Yeah,
in the building,
nah, not so much.
Yeah,
but it's just a reminder. It's just a reminder that it's like, yo, none of this shit is guaranteed. None of this shit is like set in stone. Kind of like I was talking about earlier, and then like the whole thing with I saw Tony Khan like going at Rossy and shit. I thought it was funny.
I was going to ask James about that.
I thought it seemed like the Civil War was coming to light a little bit for me. I was always kind of confused about this thing, but I mean, if I wonder what he was told, like what made him jump off the aim fire, not ready, aim fire, just aim fire.
You want my guess?
Yeah,
he was always under the assumption that that Rossy didn't want to work with him, and that he was a person that actually had final say on calls. And then, like, over the years, we come to find out that like Rossy lost power, so he didn't have a say on this. And like the person that had the calls on Stardom and AEW was actually Hirata. And for some reason, Rocky and Tony Khan did not know that. Because that didn't come out until after Tony Khan tweeted that stuff.
Yeah.
So he might have been working on the assumption like this dude, like, outside of taking in Megasis, Megan Bain has not wanted to work with me since like B. Priestley. What is going on? And it's like, and also Look, I don't know how much Tony Khan knows the history of.
When Mariah May signed to AEW, Rossy sent out a real like kind of just funny tweet about it, where it was like, "Yeah, you went there." Like it was like one of those.
Yeah. So I think I lost my train of thought. What I was going to say.
I was gonna say if I was Rossy and I was talking about women's wrestling and I watched AEW, I wouldn't want anyone to go there either.
There's some of that. There's some of that.
I'm just saying,
like when we all thought that Rossy was a person that had all the power to decide who comes and goes. Like some of that was like he's looking at the Tokyo Joshi Pro wrestlers over there, like Yuka from time to time or Ito, and it's like I don't know if all our wrestlers are doing that because like one. And also, you look at like the story of like the Tokyo Joshi Pro wrestlers, like they all are like out the door. That would end up getting in AEW. They're all out the door. It's like, I mean, obviously he can withstand that kind of loss of talent if like three of them decide to leave. But it's like, do you want to? But we didn't know that he didn't have all the power to yay or nay it. But if you are someone like Tony Khan that knows the history of pro wrestling and knows people that know Rossy, like, and the idea that he won't send anybody over to you has to be frustrating because like Rossy loves international wrestling. He loves luchadors. He loves Terry Funk. Like it has to be it had to be mind-boggling and frustrating for Tony Khan to be like, why won't this fucking guy work with me? He'll work with anybody. He sent EO to Mexico before. Right? Like it's had to have been frustrating. So like I can see from both sides what's happened. Like so it'd be funny, like, like Rossy starts up and all of a sudden, like, Rossy's version of Rossy's, like, promotion starts working with AEW. That would be funny. That would be funny to me.
I just look at it and, I always see they're mad. They sign somebody, they're mad. They don't want to sign somebody. There's like so many like tentacles of like.
You're talking about like the Western Joshi fan or the Western Joshi fandom that has nothing actually to do with the promotions.
Yeah. It's.
I don't know. I
was glad Tony Khan threw those grenades out just to kind of fuck with them, but
and that was also at the time when like people were hearing the stories, but like, oh, he's a fed operative. Wait, so he's Regal? He was Regal the whole time.
I saw that. I was bro. So this is how it went last night. So I had went to sleep early for whatever reason, right? So like. I wake up maybe like 1 o'clock or whatever in the middle of the night, and then I check my phone and I see all the stuff, the Rossy's out shit, but I don't get the first wave of like all the jokes or whatever. I get it after it's all cleared up or whatever. So I was kind of pissed. I wanted to, shake the stage a little bit.
You want to spread misinformation.
Yes, correct. Correct. I want to get some misinformation out there, and,
dude. It was one of those things. As a person that what I know about Stardom is from James' recommendation and listening to James. I'm very much an outsider. So when the tweets started going out, I didn't jump in it. I'm one of those people. If I don't know shit, I don't say shit. So I didn't know shit, so I didn't say shit. I was like. I knew I was going to be on the show. I was like, okay, I got some questions for James, but he pretty much addressed most of them already. But I was just like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, and and the only thing I had to compare, because he created the company, I'm like, this is like McMahon selling. And I know there's the other part of McMahon. Yeah. This is McMahon selling. This is someone that created all the shit. And it was like he had lost power, and I'm just like, that makes sense. People don't buy shit for you to just run it the way that you run it. Right. When people buy shit, they're eventually going to want to run it themselves. So I can understand both of them. Like, it's probably better for them to make Stardom their own for him to be gone. You know what I mean? Because, when you have this, you bought the brand. You really didn't buy him. You bought the brand, and now you can present the brand the way you wanted to.
Well, in the sense of, look, Rossy is kind of singular in terms of in his realm in this kind of way that Vince is, as far as like, if you are a businessman that remembers like the peak of All Japan's women's wrestling, Rossy was the person booking that.
Oh wow!
For like Rossy was the booker in the 90s. So like the, Tokyo Dome stuff, the Big Egg, the cross promotion stuff that people talk about with Nami Toyota and Aja Kong, like he was the person entrusted to book that stuff. So like Rossy's name rings out in a way that like, the other Joshi promoters don't. Not to say that he is the Vince McMahon of Joshi Pro Wrestling. That would be overstating it, definitely. But he does have a ring to his name if you are trying to get into the Joshi business. And
he's almost like, it sounds like more like Paul Heyman.
Yes. I remember when we first started covering Stardom, my response to Rich was, because honestly, like, it's the same thing. Like, he was a person that was taking pictures at a young age, and then got brought into the business, and then like was given the book. Like, I remember saying to Rich, like, this, like, Rossy is very much like, it's Paul Heyman / Jim Cornette, but like everything went right and well as opposed to a disaster.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see a number of wrestlers in Stardom that have international ambitions more than people think.
Oh yeah. And like, look,
and money be green out here.
Right. So, and, given Rossy's, history, and keep in mind, like, that New York show that we went to, like, that was not a Bushiroad production. That was Stardom pre-Bushiroad. Like, they were getting into the habit, it seemed like they were going to get into the habit of going overseas. And then when COVID hit and you had, and they didn't go anywhere, they were worried about expanding west in Japan. They weren't concerned about having an overseas show. Like, Rossy might actually, all the stuff, Rossy might go back to doing the stuff he wanted to do, back in 2019 before he sold to Bushiroad. So, we'll see the international flair. There'll be more, I'm imagining there'll be more gaijins again because Rossy loves gaijins. He always has. So yeah, like, we'll see. I imagine if you are a person that has international ambition or whatever else, you're going to more be likely to side with the Rossy side, but we'll see who stays and who goes. But I just think it's really precarious because, like, given who are the merch movers given how well, like, the brand is individually and the amount of depth they have, there are, like, people that are key heavy hitters as far as merch movers, like, and it could just be 5 people. If Rossy gets the right 5 people, it could be a fucking problem for Stardom survival, and they have to make some moves or whatever else that would be uncharacteristic of what Stardom has been under Bushiroad. But we'll see. But I do like the idea that the rosters will be split. It won't, when I thought from Stardom was at its best, it was like 25 people on the roster, basically. It's ballooned up in that picture. It was 39 people.
Julia about as far away as possible from everybody.
I noticed that too.
I saw some shit where, I saw some shit was like, yeah, they could crop Julia right out this shit, in like a couple months and send them pictures around.
Yeah, like, that sounds good to me. Like, they're gonna have to crop out a lot of motherfuckers. There's definitely people gonna be leaving. Because,
know what that shit gonna look like?
Go ahead.
You know what that shit gonna look like? You ever seen Tales from the Hood?
What, people fading out?
Remember, like, when in the slave house they had the big picture, and then all of a sudden, like, they would be whited out and shit. Like when the dolls escaped, like, that's what them shit's gonna be looking like. The dolls escape around the old man, and then the old man gonna turn white too, and cause he's gone.
So, like, and also, like, I think about like 40% or so of the roster are people that, like, didn't start in Stardom, but that other 60%, like, all the, their wrestling careers are linked to Rossy Ogawa. So we'll see. Like, when you look at, like, the factions, it's always not been interesting, but, like, it's been noticeable. It's like Stars full of Stardomers, Queen's Quest full of Stardomers, Oedo Tai full of Stardomers, True Bloods. So, like, we'll see what these factions and the roster breakdowns looks like over the next year or so. Like, I know that they said most of the contracts run out in March, but, like, they still have the Yokohama Buntai show to do, like, their version of All-Star Grand Queendom or whatever else, like that big show they did last April. So, like, I think it'll be more like they'll be agreed upon. Our end date is actually that'll be the real series finale. But that picture definitely was gonna, be one to remember, like that they took the other night.
I just wonder which way it's gonna break down.
So who's the Sandman of the group? Like the guy that Sandman only worked when Paul Heyman was booking. Any other time he was presented, no one cared about him. So who is the only person that only works when Rossy's booking her and is probably going to have a prior time anywhere else?
So what? Okay, so this is how I'm going to tell you. Like Rossy's booking philosophy, and it's quoted somewhere, it's been noted, and then like he has a quote. His booking philosophy more or less is, what do y'all want to do?
Oh, okay.
I'll pick my stars. I'll pick the stars, whatever else at the top because of experience, locker room leadership, merchandise sales, or whatever else. And then like the wrestlers, y'all can do what do y'all want to do? And okay, y'all want to do that? More times than not, he agrees to it, and then he just tries to organize it to make it make sense in the booking as far as timing stuff out. That's kind of that's been his label, his kind of like
so players coach.
His players coach, road to success philosophy or whatever else. And so the quote is like, believe in your wrestlers. That's the translated version of believe in your wrestlers. So that's a lot of why people, I believe it's easy to believe if you're someone that knows that, you're easy for you to believe that like, this is why like, his relationship with some of these wrestlers over the years is so strong, like with Kyrie, with Nanai over the years. Nanai, first red belt champion, just recently came back in the last year or so to do like part-time work. Kyrie, of course, you know her. It's just like, gave them their break. Let them believe them, let them become stars. Right? So yeah, like I just, I'm interested to see where this all goes. And I think, if this can be sustainable, this is good for the good, because like, you'll get more people. We have a split up rosters of people being able to, kind of break through in a way they wouldn't have because it's so stacked up. We have Micah on top as champion right now, but before then she seemed like she was doomed to being a bridesmaid. Like, it might be a spot for Hazuki to break through. You see what her title run looks like for a someone like Momo at the top, right? As you mentioned on being able to leave, that sort of thing, like, or possibly leaving. So yeah, we'll see.
I feel like Suzuki is going to be the long-term stardom answer.
I mean, if I would stay in stardom, I was her. I would stay. But who knows what her allegiances are to Julia, her relationship, and the pool that is. We'll see. But if I spent that whole year there, and that's what it ended up with, like, for me, I don't think I want any more of the Rossy Ogawa booking for a while. I think I want to try my luck with another booker.
Azumi and Starlight Kid need to stay together, but Starlight Kid not in stardom. What the fuck would that even be? That shit would make no sense.
Are you asking me, should she keep the gimmick? Is she legally have to change her name? Take the Starlight.
You gotta unmask. You gotta leave. We need to have Starlight Kid 2 over here. Just like Tiger Mask. You need to leave a gimmick behind.
Oh my god.
We can put one of them 11-year-olds under a Starlight Kid 2 and start training them up. Tekla, I think she's on the first thing smoking out of here. And I think she's going to AEW. What else?
I'm looking forward to Megan.
What about someone like Lady C? Like,
I think she's gonna probably follow her vets. So like that would mostly be like people like Tam and like Micah, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I feel like people like your like Ano, like the people that are like freelancers, I feel like are going to find themselves committing to stardom in ways that maybe they haven't.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Like the people that have worked in stardom under like freelance like style deals, I think you're gonna start seeing them commit to stardom now. Like maybe someone even like you, maybe even like Chihiro Hashimoto. Who else? Ano, like people like that.
See, that's the thing though. Like, I kind of feel like Ano was on one of those things where it's like similar to Shuri, similar to Natsupoi, similar to Tam, where it's like they were freelancing, and then they like just all of a sudden they only freelanced in one place for a while, and the next thing you know, like after 6 months to a year, it's like, oh, I've signed with Stardom. Like Mina did that too, just like Natsupoi did when they both left Tokyo Joshi Pro, where it's like Unagi did too. So it's like, we'll see. But
I sure would like
the Ano to Stardom thing is kind of bad, and she's already a white belt champion too.
I sure would like Hikaru Shida to make a phone call to her friend, and see if she wants to come kick it for a little bit. Selfishly,
did you see Shuri's? Speaking of, because you're talking about Shuri, have you seen Shuri's like tweet about that? A tweet?
Yes, I saw the interview.
So like, because that tweet, it definitely sounds like she wants to wrestle internationally. And if you want to wrestle internationally, I don't think you're staying in Bushiroad, given the history of what we've seen with them in Stardom in the last 4 years.
Let's get it poppin'.
Oh, so Zakamaki, because I had the chat down. He said Tam, SOK, Azumi, Julia, and I think Utami have been their big merch movers. From what I remember, it was the biggest ones were the former Stars trio of Tam, Mayu, and Starlight Kid, and then other people that sold merch recently, like at a high level, have been Natsupoi and Mina. And it was Unagi until Unagi left.
Yeah, man. Unagi called Rossy a freelancer. I saw that shit. I was screaming.
Yeah, he said, so you now in your Gan period too. So Floyd, Unagi is a former wrestler in Cosmic Angels, along with like Tam, and we don't know why she is no longer with Stardom, but there is speculation that she was fired / she hit the bricks on her own, and word is she had heat with the current champion. What the heat was, we are not sure. Or there was some talk of like this. She made some tweet that like made Micah mad, but like, yeah, she was kind of let go. And at the time when she was let go, like the rest of the members of Cosmic Angels were like, yo, she's on a like excursion type of thing, right? Well, that ass ain't came back yet. So it's been over a year, and she's been wrestling all throughout the Joshi scene outside of Stardom.
Like she's been like a one-woman army, like
right,
being everywhere.
Like she's a champion in an American Joshi promotion.
You know what she's kind of like? She's kind of like Matt Cardona a little bit, like the way she like goes around to each place, but she throws on produce shows too, which true. Actually draw. So she's like a step up from Cardona, like in that case. But
yeah, like it's just funny because like, so she said I'm in a Gan period, and Gan is like this noise she makes or whatever else, and like she said it at, like literally hours after that tweet came out, that release came out, just Stardom was firing Rossy's like, I guess you in your Gan period too. I'm like, God damn, that was funny. Now, like, I don't know, what the situation was for her and Rossy.
If Unagi comes back,
she might look, given what she's done. If I was Rossy, I'd be trying to sign her. I would try to sign her to this situation. Yeah. Because like she's done this whole thing while like doing this whole freelancing in Joshi while like not being a top star, like as far as protection, like she loses all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, we can do this. You were money mint in Stardom, and remember Rossy also wanted to push her to get to the semifinals of the 2022 Cinderella tournament, but they were overruled him at the time for Natsupoi.
There's also somebody that works on their English quite often that I think we should be talking about. The Mina.
Oh yeah, Mina wants to work overseas. Yeah. I mean, she came over here 2 years ago for the night or the New York shows for Joshi for New Japan.
So when put Mariah and Mina back together, people will not know how to act.
You said Mariah and Mina?
Yeah, they will not know how to act over here. Mm-mm.
So yeah, like there's tons of possibilities. Like there's lots of people with it. Like a lot of them want to come over here and wrestle in America or come over here and wrestle in America first time. Like Starlight Kid and Azumi have still never wrestled over here, right? So Hannon, obviously, because it's younger than those two. So I don't think Suzu has. No, maybe she has. Maybe she did a tour. And I think she did a tour where like did some hardcore shit with like Yamashita. But yeah, like we'll see. And it'll be interesting, and we'll cover it when it happens because like there will be dominoes on this, and it will be interesting to see like who affiliate or who left with who or who stayed, and trying to figure out why. It'll be interesting. Like try to read the tea leaves on some of this stuff. So
how did Asuka celebrate when she saw the Rossy Ogawa is fired news come through?
I guess I don't know. It's gonna be hard for that because like she might celebrate, but it's like, did she celebrate too hard around Kyrie and Io? Because who knows? Or did she only celebrate with like Dakota? Apparently, like Dakota and Rossy had heat back in the day too, or something.
Hikaru Shida, how did she celebrate? I
don't know. Maybe she called Tsukasa and was like, we found they probably like they may have cried like Triple H and Shawn cried after they won that match in Australia against Undertaker. It's like, we finally won. Y'all never beat it. That wasn't WrestleMania.
Beat him in the stadium. But yeah, like I think all this shit is connected in a way. Like, and it's gonna be funny.
I gotta say, this has been the 36 days into the month. This has probably been the most interesting 36 days. Like 2024 has been the most interesting as a professional wrestling fan. It's like if you like, oh, there's nothing to talk about. I'm like, dude, are you just not paying attention?
Yeah,
there is something in period. Yeah, it's just like so. It's like it's not going to be the same going forward for anything and anybody. I mean, Okada. Not New Japan, right? It was like I'm sitting there at Wrestle Kingdom, like in my head thinking, oh man, I'm gonna try to be at the 20th anniversary of Wrestle Kingdom 20 or whatever. I'm sorry. Okay, so Okada's gone, Ospreay's gone. Why am I going to Japan again? I'm pretty sure I could just go to Chicago and see the same guys I was going to go to Japan and see.
I mean, that is true. And also, I think Okada has his master plan of like, I'm not sticking around to get these young guys up to speed by giving them wins now so they get them over. Like, they want their wins, they gotta prove themselves to become stars on their own merit, and then like when they become stars, whatever 2 or 3 of them do become the stars, then I'll come back and I will face them. And as I face them, I will then
hit them with a Rainmaker.
I will close the door on Tetsuya Naito when I come back because he will be on his last legs by then. I think that's all comes into play.
Zekumaki says TK might as well ask Ospreay to tell Azumi to join.
Oh, United Empire?
I mean, Will could get on the phone,
Well, I mean, I think if Tony Khan wanted to get Azumi, well, first off, I don't know if Tony Khan's ever seen Azumi, but like if he ever saw a video of her wrestling for 10 minutes, he would want her immediately. But after that, like the sweeten deal to get Azumi to come over, all you gotta do is be like, hey, I can get you in the ring Mexico. I now got the CMLL connect. I can get you. You always want to wrestle in Mexico. Guess what you finna do? So yeah, I can get you in that what's the thing at the end of the year in Mexico, the Women's Grand Prix, I think it's called, or something. I think it's like a women's tournament at the end of the year in CMLL. I can get you onto that. Come on,
funny
dude. Yeah, like AEW like is doing everything that I love. But like they could do almost like 2 WrestleMania weekends now, and I'm talking Forbidden Door if done correctly with the best of New Japan, the best of Stardom, best of CMLL. That can be like you do like an indie like Starcast or whatever with it, having them all signed in there. You could make your own WrestleMania weekend, and then you have London, which is
right.
Yeah, you can definitely make a WrestleMania weekend. So it's like. The one thing about AEW I've always liked, they haven't made one show their signature show. They don't have a Bound for Glory. They don't have a Final Battle. Right. It's like, come to all our pay-per-views because they're all the best shows ever, but they're positioning with themselves in a natural way where you can build a Forbidden Door And that can pretty much Forbidden Door can really live outside of your AEW storylines if you want to. And then the culmination of all your yearly storylines could be All In London.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's saying if that's even something they're interested in, as far as it, because, trying to make your own WrestleMania generally, fails. But, London, those fans having something yearly they've been craving for something to call their own. So All In could be that.
I mean,
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry, Imp. I saw something on my timeline the other day that was upsetting. I saw, how they talk about fish and chips are obviously the potato fry, the French fries.
Yeah.
I saw what their French fries look like, and I was like, and I saw, this thing of cod, of this piece of cod, the fish with the chips, and then I saw the beans, and I was like, I can see why they starved. They ain't got nothing good to eat. They don't never have good to eat. In terms of substance, nutrition, or entertainment. So yeah, I can see why they all can't. They love them some WWE and come to droves and spend that amount of money to go out there in Wales to see they boy get his teeth kicked in. Yeah, and they'll do it again in a heartbeat. Yeah.
I saw
when
videos
Ospreay
of
went over there, they gonna go nuts.
I saw them biting into like Popeye's chicken sandwiches, and it looked like their lives changed forever.
I remember about hearing the story. Maybe look, I don't know if it's true or not, but it was funny, so it may as well be true, right? Funny over true sometimes. I remember hearing the story about like the Popeyes chicken sandwich when it first came out. Like they built a Popeyes in the London International Airport, and that like some of the customers were complaining that the the classic sandwich, the mild sandwich, was burning their mouth like it was spicy. So, I can't speak to their palates over there, but it is always funny to hear about descendants of people that colonize a lot of the world in order to find spices, can't handle them.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I think that's a great place to end it.
I was gonna say I love the fish and chips, and the Indian food was amazing when I was there. So
okay,
there's a lot of Indian people there, so it's like every corner you go on to, apparently it's like the best Indian food you ever had. Because I couldn't even tell you the place's name. We just saw it when we were walking to a train, and we was like, "Oh, let's try this," and oh my god, it was amazing. But yeah, it was a great time. Y'all should all definitely come to London. We should make that trip one year.
Might have to do it this year.
We'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say I booked the flight. I booked my London flight 2 weeks ago
already.
No, dude, I already had my hotel. My hotel is paid for in London, so no, I was going back. Something's definitely gonna adjust in my life before I'm not at all in again.
Did you already get your tickets?
No.
Okay.
Last year I rushed and bought my tickets. And I enjoyed it. I mean, my seat was all right, but the section I wanted to sit in was like wide open like 2 weeks before the show. So I'm like, I'm just gonna wait.
All right, you're gonna have to show me your ways, Floyd. You have to show me. Well, we've already talked about you showing me your ways in certain this, but I mean, as far as this ticket buying for AEW events, you have to show me your ways in that particular way.
Dude, it's like I hate that it's not as popular, but as far as a person that likes to sit close, it's been an amazing period of time because like me and my wife are sitting first row on Valentine's Day in Austin. I paid $129 a ticket.
See, now that ticket at a WWE show would have been, easily over a stack, right? Now I remember,
no, it would have cost the same price for both those tickets to sit in the hundreds. I wouldn't have been on the floor. Right. I wouldn't have been on the floor.
Yeah, I remember. I think I told y'all what I paid for the Sumo Hall show that I went to for Stardom at the end of 2022, like for that ticket. And I was like, oh, that ain't nothing. I'm going to sit in one of the first 3 rows for like the price of what I was spending to like not even get on the floor of the WWE show. And this show is absolutely going to be better than like any WWE show this year. Oh, easy.
Crank it up.
Yeah, sitting floor.
I saw one of the greatest matches of all time, and the conclusion of a storyline that I want to cry in the building to see.
Yeah,
WWE gave me that in years.
Yeah, the worst thing WWE ever did to me was sign with On Location, because now sitting on the first floor is a Super Bowl ticket. So
Damn.
on WrestleMania, you want to sit on the floor, you coming off Super Bowl prices.
That's another thing, Floyd. When are you gonna go to one of these Super Bowls?
Huh? When am I gonna go
Super
to?
Bowls?
As long as my team can lose, I'm never dropping $7,000 on the ticket.
That's fair. But, but to be fair, at some point you'd be like, "Hey, man, I got Pat Mahomes. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here every year, man. I'm gonna be here like every year."
I think for the 2 days of WrestleMania last year, I spent $700, and I want my $700 back as soon as Cody lost. So just imagine $7,000 and the Chiefs get blown out like they did in Tampa Bay, like somebody gets hurt, or Mahomes rolls his ankle on the second play of the game. I'm pissed off. I'm calling Roger Goodell. I want my money back.
Field.
No. As long as my team can lose, I'm probably not dropping that amount of money on the ticket. I'd have to hit the lottery where that money doesn't matter to me or something.
Okay.
So how much they winning by this week, Floyd?
Okay. I can see a world where we blow them out, because I'm taking. If we get Brock Purdy down 10 and we got to rely on him to throw the ball, I'm like, oh, we're going to pick that off all day. But what if he throws a ball right to one of the Chiefs defenders and it bounces off their hands and off their face mask and into Ayuk's hands? What if that happens? That happened last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah. That happened against a lesser defense, because we're the Chiefs. That's what we do. But honestly, I've been saying all year, if you happen to be a friend on Facebook, that I think San Francisco's the best team in football, top to bottom. They have 5 positions where they might have the best player at that position. So if they win, I'm not going to be like heartbroken, because I do think they're a better football team. But as long as we got 15, I think, I'm thinking we're going to win. I'm never betting against 15 ever. I'm like, I'm never betting against 15. He's like, you put him in the fourth quarter, 7.5 minutes left, down 10 points against one of the best rushing teams in the NFL, and he somehow won that game.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? I mean, it literally, the Tampa game came to, we had no offensive linemen.
Right.
We had no starting offensive linemen on our team. We were gonna lose. But as long as Philadelphia, better team than us last year.
And you still beat them on one leg.
Yeah. Literally scored like everybody wants to bring up that pass interference call. We scored every possession in the second half.
Yep.
Because we have Patrick Mahomes and they don't. So I'm like, if you ask me to put money down, I'm never betting against Patrick Mahomes ever.
Like, if I were, okay, so I am 36. If I were 16, like I would have became a Chiefs fan off Mahomes. Like, forget the winning and losing thing. Like, people would be like, well, you're front running. Like, nah, man. Like, I became a Vikings fan because of Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Like, Randy Moss' favorite athlete of all time. It ain't about the winning Super Bowls. Like, it's I turn on the TV and I have never seen anything like this in this sport. That's what this is for me. Like, he's so, like, he's already my favorite quarterback of all time. He's already became that.
I don't know if you can say this anymore because of what happened, but Michael Vick, I became his biggest fan in a loss to Florida State. I had never seen anybody play like that.
Right.
If that dude had one good wide receiver, they maybe win that game. Like, it was him. It was 1 on 11, and they were still in it. You know what I mean?
Like, the thing about that Sugar Bowl is, like, what, Florida State won by over 20 points, right?
Yeah, it was.
Florida State won by over 20 points in a national title game, and the thing people remember is that quarterback on the losing team that lost by over 20 points, that boy was nice. That lets you know what were we watching back then? Yeah, man, Vic was he was doing things that we just didn't imagine could even exist or happen for a quarterback at the time. And, like, I think we take Lamar Jackson for granted because, like, he's actually better than Vic, but it's like just the concept that we didn't even think like the things that Vic could do was even possible at quarterback.
Yeah. Dude, they had to make a whole different option on Madden called the hit stick to try to make it even from players playing with Michael Vick.
Yeah,
that's how good that man was. He changed video games.
Yeah.
Like back in the day.
That man was like Tecmo Bowl.
But before Michael Vick, a quarterback that was fast had like 71 speed. This dude comes out of the draft with 97 speed. Yeah, 95 speed. It was like, this dude is faster than every wide receiver on this team. It was like, dude, no. So, no.
Do y'all ever have the man rule back then on 04 Madden? Like, you couldn't play with him? Like, you can play with the Falcons?
Nah, I played by myself most of the time.
Okay. No.
We had a rule like, hey man, hey, look,
yeah. I was
if
living
you
with my
play for
brother.
bread, you can't pull them out. You just can't.
Dude, I was living with my brother. We had the door, like door was open, so everybody come in, $5 a game or whatever. Mm-hmm. Dude, I murdered people with Michael Vick. Murdered people with Michael Vick. I murdered people with Michael Vick. Dude, 300 yards passing, 150 yards rushing, easy. Because, they blitz and leave the wide receiver touchdown. No.
Get so frustrated with them, you done. Fuck it. Yeah. All right, I got something for this nigga. Engage hates.
Dude. Dude, so many broken controllers over Michael Vick, man. And that was back. We didn't have no money back then, so it wasn't cheap. We like duct taping the controllers back together. You about to get these hands, So it was a good time, and it was a good time. And when I would lose, oh my God, you lose with Michael Vick. That was like losing with Bo Jackson on Tecmo Bowl. People just laughed at you. Like, why would you lose?
It'd be almost like losing WrestleMania main event after winning 2 Rumbles back to back.
Yeah,
that's the end of the show. Thanks for listening. Be sure to rate whatever app you're using to listen to this with. If you're listening or you're watching stream and you want to give us a donation, be sure to go to the show notes for the podcast and go to our website link there. Also be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Floyd's All Things Elite. You have Keepin It Strong Style. You have Imp's WWE Adventure. You have Wrestle Things with Chris Plan. You have
Chris Bryant.
I said Prant?
Chris Bryant.
Chris Bryant? Yeah, you're right. Apologies, Chris. Also, person that I've seen in the Star, at Star Show 2018. I remember you. Anyway, Total Talk, and also the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.